Season 3 patch notes. Will it deliver on the hype? There was no hype. Let's see what Capcom cooked up. They said nothing about this patch. They're being real low-key about it, so let's see what they got for us. Adjustment summary. Overall concept. Our focus for this end of the content year update was various character tunings in addition to alterations to the general strategy of the game through a number of battle system changes. A list of changes and our explanation behind them can be found below. We hope these explanations will help explain our thought process, especially for adjustments where the intention is less obvious than others. That is commendable. Thank you, Capcom. Perfect parry. A screen freeze will no longer occur when successfully performing a perfect parry unless the correct direction is held. Down back must be held for low attacks, and back must be held for high and overhead attacks to successfully produce a screen freeze. Okay, this is known. When people started seeing the gameplay footage from those Elena CPU mirror matches, they're speculating on how the perfect parry would work now. So yes, you must also block in addition to get the screen freeze. Otherwise, you're going to get like the perfect parry style projectile. The perfect parry on projectile style parry, which does give you frame advantage, but it reduces the amount of frame advantage you get. So that's a nerf to perfect parry, which I think also increases the skill of defense to a degree. This change is intended to improve the feeling of being on the receiving end of a perfect parry, and is in response to a number of situations. One, because perfect parry required no additional input, it was too easy of a choice to simply parry the moment the player sees your opponent move. Facts. It was like a block button. Another was the drive parry before drive rush, occasionally causing a perfect parry by chance when hit by an opponent's spacing attack. These kind of incidental perfect parry situations were found to result in frustration for players when a perfect parry turned the tide of a match. Yeah, very true. Yeah, people were about to do a drive rush, they tap perfect parry, and then they coincidentally get the perfect parry when they're actually going for a drive rush. You would accidentally get perfect parries all the time. It was just part of the experience. So I do agree that perfect parry felt rather unintentional and also still too low risk. Like you would just kind of spam it. I likened it to Street Fighter 4 crouch tech, where in Street Fighter 4 you would press crouch tech preemptively to the rhythm of the opponent's offense to guess when a throw would come. And in Street Fighter 6, you would kind of tap perfect parry to the rhythm of the opponent's offense to kind of guess when the strike would come and get a perfect parry and maybe win. And it was just a really low risk thing that you would just do. While we had attempted to balance the risk and reward of perfect parry through gauge use gain and increased recovery of a dry parry, reward was still too high on success and the risk too low on failure. Yes. By requiring an additional input alongside the already present timing requirement, we hope to reduce those incidental parries. I think that's a good change. Now you can actually be more impressed when you get a screen freeze perfect parry, especially on weird setups. Perfect parry against projectiles, which produces no time freeze, have been kept as they were in order to prevent projectiles from becoming overly oppressive. Okay, so you can still walk forward and get perfect parry on projectiles. So you don't have to walk forward, block, and then press parry for projectiles. I think that's also a good change. I think there was a lot of talk about people thinking that perfect parry would be too strong against projectiles in this game. I don't think that came to fruition. I think the projectiles are really good in this game. So I think that's fine. Keep that as is. Don't nerf that. Adjustments resulting from perfect parry changes. Because the perfect parry alterations have made highs and lows more important, many characters have received changes to their lows to ensure they are not overly powerful. Low forward drive rush. This change also means that it will be more difficult to perform perfect parry against an attack out of drive rush, a common choice to begin an offensive push. Taking this into consideration, crouching medium kicks that cannot be canceled into other moves have been given scaling in order to ease their strength when used from drive rush, as they could lead to combos that were safe on block. Hold up. Okay, let me reread this. Taking this into consideration, crouching medium kicks that cannot be canceled into other moves have been given scaling in order to ease their strength when used from drive rush. That's kind of weird. That's not a low forward drive rush nerf. That is a nerf to things like drive rush into crouching medium kick from JP or Kimberly or Manon, so that if you get hit low, A.K.I as well, for sure A.K.I. So all those crouching medium kicks that weren't drive rush cancelable, they were usually better for starting high-low mixed pressure. That is true. Yeah, Guile also has one. If you had a low forward drive rush, you couldn't drive rush into a crouching medium kick to start your offense. You'd have to drive rush cancel. So if you have a poke that could cancel the drive rush, it was good for the poking, but not good for raw drive rush into a high-low mix. So I guess they're trying to ease the fact that perfect parry is a little bit nerfed. They don't want you getting totally obliterated by high-low mix. Think about JP. Drive rush crouching MK, into drive rush overhead. They're trying to nerf the amount of damage you get if you mess up on defense. I don't really mind that, to be honest. We'll see how that pans out. First impression, I think that's fine. It's a nerf to random drive rush high-low, which I think is okay. I'm down with that. Let's see how it proceeds. In anticipation of long-reaching lows becoming a powerful way to begin offense, characters that are able to cancel their crouching medium kicks will no longer be able to evade an opponent's throw after having their drive rush light attack blocked from crouching medium kick. This will require the opponent to throw as soon as they're able. Okay. So if you do low forward to light attack, you must hold the consequences of that. You cannot walk back to shimmy. If they immediately throw you and you're trying to walk back shimmy, you will get thrown, which means your reversal becomes more powerful. They're not able to both successfully bait your reversal super DP and your throw tech. That means you're committed to being in their face in offensive. So reversals will be better after blocking low forward into drive rush and immediate throws. I like that change. You want it to get in, you better stay in. I thought you already couldn't shimmy against instant tech. For some characters, they could. So that is true. I don't think that was universal. And it also probably depended on the walk speed of both characters. So we'll have to see how they implemented that. I don't know if they reduced the walk speed, reduced pushback. I don't know what it was. Let's see. Attack sequences using crouching light kick from close ranges have also received changes. Because perfect parry was universal for strikes, it was common to have crouching light kicks perfect parried when trying to check an opponent's wake up. This, combined with the fact that most light punches resulted in more advantage, crouching light kicks were considered a low priority move. With the changes in perfect parry, these attacks should see much more use. We've also made it more likely for consecutive light attacks to reach with alterations to advantage and pushback on block to light moves. Interesting. So I think just by virtue of the fact that you have to perfect parry high-low, lights will become a little bit more powerful because you could just do raw overhead when people tap perfect parry on a low. So that makes them a little bit better. But also, there sounds like they're going to make it so that there's better light strings in this game. So we'll see what that means. Usually what you do is you do like crouching light. Most, like the best light strings you can do in this game are generally crouching jab, crouching light kick, the low, then stand light punch. And those three will connect together. And if they try to walk away after the crouching jab, the low will connect and the stand light punch would combo. Some characters have that. Terry has that. It's not universal. So maybe they're improving those types of strings so that light moves can chain people down and prevent them from moving out of pressure more universally. As discussed below, we've added assisted combos and incorporate the crouching light attack as the second attack in the stream. Exactly. Using the crouching light as the second attack is a common tactic to stop people from walking away from a predicted tick throw. So you can attack in similar fashion when using classic controls. Right, exactly. Okay, seems like they're trying to buff those strings. Terry has that now in the old patch. Maybe they're going to add that to more characters. Throw escapes. The player who escapes a throw will now receive more drive gauge and super art gauge than before. Yep, we saw that in the matches they showed. A classic defensive strategy was to perform a delayed throw escape after blocking for an instant. This was a strong option against both strikes and throws, but it proved difficult to turn the fight around into your favor as the attacker could simply wait and attack a whiffed throw attempt, making it a high risk but low return defensive option. Yes. As a defensive measure against throws, players could also backdash or jump to get better rewards, which meant that throw escapes was not an option that was chosen often. In order to provide players with another valuable close range option when on the defensive, we decided to give more resources upon a successful throw escape. This will be a huge boon for a player, especially just before hitting burnout, but can become a valid option, and it can become a valid option to get out of a tight situation. Yeah, I feel whatever about this change, because keep in mind, people can just delay their throws on offense. It is more overall defensive buff, but like sometimes you'll be on offense and you'll like delay fuzzy throw someone on their wake up, and you'll coincidentally press throw second and you'll get a bar. So I don't know, it's something. But throw loops are definitely in the game still. Sweeps, along with reducing the hurt box on the first active frame, we made adjustments so that on a normal or counter hit, players can still perform a recovery. So they reduced the hurt box on the first active frame, so they're harder to stuff. We made adjustments so that on a normal or counter hit, players can still perform a recovery. So you could always recover on normal hit, Did they nerf counter hit sweeps? Couldn't you normally always recover on a sweep? Am I wrong? Maybe I'm misremembering that. Sweeps are pretty bad in this game in general. I don't remember. I honestly don't remember if sweeps give a hard knockdown on regular hit. It was hard knockdown off sweep. Okay, so I guess they got rid of hard knockdown on normal and counter hit. Yeah, because sweeps are just bad in this game, unless you're Geef. I think this is a nerf to Geef. I don't mind that because the only character where sweeps were good for was Geef, and sure, go ahead and nerf that. Now you can back roll away if Geef sweeps you. Akuma sweep was pretty good. Chun sweep is pretty good. I guess I should not speak so broadly. There were exceptions. None of the characters I played had good sweeps that I would want to use. I just think in general sweeps were rather bad unless they were really good. So that does kind of make things a little bit more equal. By greatly reducing the hurt box immediately after the attack startup, although there's some risk if the attack was blocked or missed, it's now an attack that can win out against other pokes more often. So it sounds like this is going to be stronger for counter poking. So you're going to be able to use it more effectively in terms of like footsies. Remember this option when you don't have much health left or in a pinch. Yeah, it's not going to have a hurt box until after the active frames start. So it's going to be much stronger as a counter poke, it sounds like. So they might see more usage because I never use sweep. Terry sweep is terrible. JP sweep is kind of funny. Ed sweep was decent. But for the most part, you didn't use them. On the other hand, the move can now be recovered from after a normal or counter hit, so your offensive situation after hit is much different. Each character will have a different wake-up gameplay now, so study up. This is definitely a huge nerf to Geef first, and then second Akuma, then third Chun-Li. Due to this change, the strategy of knocking down an opponent and switching sides before they get up is now gone, except if the attack lands as a punish counter. Who would swap sides on regular sweep knockdown? Guile? Okay, Guile, right? Am I remembering his combo route where he gets the bazooka knee crossover? Cammy, Dee Jay. I guess a lot of characters did, huh? Yeah, now that I think about it, none of the characters I played generally did that. There were a decent number. Okay, they're taking the goal is to get rid of meterless side swaps, or a lot of routes to side swap. A lot of those were situational. I feel like the Guile one was most common. Note that the attacks that slide along the ground are not subject to this change. Okay, so slides are unaffected. So Blanka slide, Dhalsim slide. Modern controls have received two major updates. Jumping attacks. By pressing the assist button with an attack button, you can now use different jumping attacks while in the air. As a general rule, good air to ground attacks require pressing the assist button, while attacks suited for air to air situations are now the normal jumping attacks. Okay, fine. Unique assisted combos can now be performed from rapid cancel light attack. Due to the properties of assisted combos using modern controls, it wasn't possible to look for a combo after a second light attack, with the exception of some characters. However, considering the changes made to perfect parry, it's now more important to mix up the high-low levels of attacks more than ever. So by performing down plus auto plus light from rapid cancel light attack, you can now perform a unique assisted combo that begins with a light attack. This unique assisted combo is the exact same as every character's assisted combo 1, but when rapid canceled, will continue until the end regardless of the attack is hit or blocked. Modern controls are weird. I don't know, man. You are locked out of a lot of your moves, and I think we're really seeing the dead end of using modern controls and auto combos and everything. It makes the game more complex. I think things are more complex when you start doing this kind of shit. Anyways, cool, whatever. More flexibility for modern controls. Universal changes. Corner jump behavior. Bug fix. Fix an issue where player 1 and player 2 would differ when performing a forward jump on an opponent who is in the corner of the stage. We had corner bugs. Corner-specific bugs. I didn't know about that. Takes me back to Street Fighter 4. Corner behavior for certain characters. Fix an issue where characters would switch sides when certain forward-moving attacks were performed as a counter after perfect parry in the corner of the stage. Okay. Advancing drive gauge recovery amount. Drive gauge recovery now occurs from frame 11 and later after moving forward. The cooldown period that occurs after immediately performing an overdrive art is not affected due to the amount of drive recovered changing depending on time elapsed. So I don't know what this was a change. Was this increased or decreased? Drive gauge recovery now occurs from frame 11 and later after moving forward. So did they decrease the cooldown or increase it? I guess they increased it because it was right away. Oh, this is getting rid of micro walk combos. Why? All forms of unique skill expression must be squandered. Fighting game devs are getting too good at making you play the game to the revision, man. This also lowers the overall amount of drive gauge gain, right? Yeah, it might be better overall just to reduce the amount of drive gauge in neutral. That will reduce it a little bit, but micro walk combos getting hit in the meantime kind of sucks. It might be better in the end, though. I think this means no micro walks. I kind of agree with chat's assessment here. That's a mixed bag. Anything to reduce, I think drive gauge recovery is too crazy in this game. So I'm on board for doing stuff to reduce that, but micro walk combos taking the hit in the process is kind of whack. Perfect parry requirements. Conditions for perfect parry are changed. Screen freeze that occurs with perfect parry will no longer occur if the correct block, unless the correct block direction input is used. High overhead attacks, you must stand block. Lows, you must crouch block. If the player performs an incorrect block input, a perfect parry will not trigger, but they will recover more drive gauge than a normal parry. If a player performs an incorrect block input, a perfect parry will not trigger, but they will recover more drive gauge than a normal parry. Okay, so you get the imperfect parry. So word on the street was people were calling this imperfect parry the same as a projectile perfect parry, but with a projectile perfect parry, you reduce the recovery. Does this mean you get 0 frame advantage on an incorrect imperfect parry? If I imperfect parry a safe unblock overhead, do I get no frame advantage from that? I just get meter? For projectiles that do not trigger a screen freeze, old perfect parry input still applies. In training mode, adjusting the switch block setting will change whether the dummy performs the perfect parry or not. Makes sense. Perfect parry buffer inputs fix an issue where a buffered input would be completely lost when performing a perfect parry during an attack that was a long buffer input. Fix an issue where buffered input would be completely lost when performing a perfect parry during an attack that has a long buffer input period. Maybe this is about perfect parry OS on projectiles. That's kind of hard for me to wrap my head around. Fix an issue where certain inputs would cause the character to not land on the ground. Dynamic controls! Why is this in here? Assisted combo. Okay, we're good with that. Jumping attacks. Okay, normal throw. Fix an issue when a throw would miss, even on a punch kind of situation when performing a normal throw after a dry parry. This change affects A.K.I and Bison. Weird. Back throw would be misinterpreted as forward throw. Fix an issue where 2 players attempted to throw at the same time under certain circumstances. The result would be fixed to one side rather than be random as intended. Which side got the benefit? Hold on. I swear I teched that. Which side got the benefit, Capcom? I need to know. So I can know that every game I played on player 1 or player 2's side was completely not my fault. Crouching heavy kick. Got rid of the hard knockdown. The status and hit changes depend on the character. This change affects A.K.I and adds crouching heavy punch instead of their crouching heavy kick. It does not apply to Dee Jay, right? Wait, does not apply to Dee Jay. So his crouching medium kick doesn't apply? Dee Jay escapes nerfs. All right, Luke. All I know is Noah the Prodigy has been tweeting nonstop about getting Luke a damage buff and how he will take over the world if Luke receives such a buff. Are we going to live in a world with Noah the Prodigy taking all of our tournaments? Let's see. With Luke, we revamped some of the details of his combos involving the hold version of the medium flash knuckle and tweaked some of his overdrive attacks so that they weren't seeing much action. In addition, we made small adjustments like tweaking his snapback combo and his combo damage in the corner so he feels better to play. Tweaking his combo damage so he feels better. So I'm assuming that's not a nerf. Medium flash knuckle hold. This perfect version of medium flash knuckle comes out fast and can combo from crouching heavy punch for big damage, but by removing the combo scaling from the perfect version gives it a more pronounced difference. So we tweak the attack so even if you miss the perfect version, if your execution is good, the combo will still connect. To go along with this adjustment, we removed the tweak where the hold version's recovery would be shorter if it collided with drive impact. Okay, that was a dumb change they did. So the hold version can be DI'd. In the last season, if he did medium flash knuckle and you DI'd it, he would recover and DI in return. That's whack. So that's gone. But it seems like, did they just make the combo easier? They just made it easier to land. They didn't change anything if you hit the perfect version. Snapback combo, medium, 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 medium. On hit, Luke will gain much more drive gauge than before, and knockdown time is increased, allowing you to do a forward dash into standing heavy kick for a meaty setup. Wow. Better Oki. Light punch DP. We've greatly increased the combo count upper value, so it can be used in juggle combos more often. You'll find that there are more chances to do this, especially in the corner, which helps to alleviate some frustration with Luke as his combo power drops once he backs opponents into the corner. Oh, okay, so we got new combos where you can juggle with light DP in the corner. Modern. Crouching light kicks. So this is part of the universal adjustments to crouching light kicks. Recovery changed from 12 to 11. Advantage on hit changed from -1 to 0, which means drive rush crouching light kick is now comboable at +4. Okay, you see what they're doing, chat? Okay. Sounds like they're also trying to make it so that you can more universally do drive rush into low and get better combos. Advantage on block changed from -5 to -3. Drive rush crouching light kick from Luke will now be +1 on block. Stand heavy kick, reduce hurt box around the feet upward between frames 8 through 15. Okay, so they make this more spammable, the big heavy kick. Back heavy kick, which I think is the knee. Advantage on block changed from -5 to -3. Reduce pushback on block. Adjusted so that some forward momentum remains if the attack is blocked when performed from a drive rush. Is this the knee? Back heavy kick is the roundhouse. Oh, okay. So it's safe on block now. Never mind, it's not the knee. I thought they buffed his knee again. 400 to 1,000 and 500 to 2,000. That's actually a huge amount of drive gauge gain. Sandblast, reduce hurtbox around the arms between the frame before the attack hitbox comes out into the second active frame, so they made this easier to use. It won't get stuck by projectiles as much. And they improved his fireball on drive gauge chip damage. Same thing for the OD. And change attack startup from 12 to 8 frames. So the extension is also faster as well, which can be used to snipe people's projectiles and OD projectiles. And then remember he can get combos after this with the wall splat from the last patch. So they're improving his meter extension on his fireball. So they sped up the charge medium flash knuckle. Recovery is no longer reduced when absorbing attack with super armor. Yeah, okay. The air version, increased horizontal blowback distance when hitting an airborne opponent to prevent inputs from being switched to the opponent's position during recovery. The input now depends on the direction Luke is facing. Okay, whatever. And then increased combo potential with the light DP. There will be more combos for this. And then advantage on block for OD Overdrive Impaler from -5 to -3. His tackle is now safe on block. Why? Oh, this is the overhead? The kick ender is the overhead? They made his overhead and OD safe? They're really buffing. They might just be overall buffing the high-low game. Jamie. Is it time? With Jamie, we looked at adjusting his standing medium kick, which was great at controlling the neutral from mid to long range. By increasing its risk when it misses, additionally, we increase the variety of techniques he can use in a combo at close range, improving his return when he goes on the offensive. Okay, so I don't know what they mean by adjusting his standing medium kick. Standing medium kick. We adjusted him so that the hurt box when he misses remains for a while, so its ability to zone out characters has weakened. So they nerfed it, extended hurt box to make it easier to whiff punish. But we made the startup faster so it can combo from a crouching light punch or crouching medium punch on punish counter. Okay, making another option going on a counter deck. So a better combo ability from lights, but easier to whiff punish. And faster startup for whiff punishing. I do think it was a little spammable. And I think maybe the trade-off of making it faster is fair. Better to whiff punish with, but also carries a little bit more risk. Free flow strike. The final attack can be canceled into a super art, giving it more utility in combos. With the overdrive version, you can cancel it into super art level 2, making it strong offensive option even when the attack is blocked. What is free flow strike? The final attack can be canceled into a super art. The Rekka? So they're saying it can be canceled into Super Art 3. So before with Jamie, if you went into the Rekkas, you had to cancel the first hit into level 3. This means you can get more combos and more damage from certain conversions by going through the full Rekka sequence into level 3. And then maybe with level 2, you can go all 3 Rekkas and then do something funky after. This adjustment made to the movement distance of the non-level 4 light and medium versions was done to alleviate issues for the attacks after the first attack landed would miss. Sure. Okay, modern. Walking backwards. Fixed an issue where movement speed would decrease if Jamie continued to walk backwards. Weird. Standing medium punch, change on hit from +5 to +6. Okay. New combo route's going to be possible from that. Stand heavy punch, collision blocks has been expanded upwards, making it more difficult for Jamie to pass underneath an airborne opponent during a combo. This might help certain juggle combos for him. Stand MK, change startup from 10 to 9 frames. Stand MK is definitely his best poke. Really strong, actually. So that's a buff. Recovery change from 17 to 18 when it misses, and expanded hurt box in the body forward from the end of the active frames until it moves recovery. I think this is fair all around. Stronger, amazing poke. I do think it was already kind of spammable because you couldn't whiff punish it. I love me a good extended hurt box. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a big fan of extended hurt boxes. Standing heavy kick, advantage on hit, change from +1 to +3. This punish counters very easily. On counter hit, it does a normal counter hit state, right? So +5 on counter hit. Crouching light punch, extended momentum left by drive rush by 1 frame. Seems like they want you to do crouching light punch into stand MK. Crouching medium punch, recovery change from 13 to 15 frames when the attack misses. Expanded hurt box that appears around the feet between frames 16 through 17. Removed hurt box around feet between 16 and 17 when the attack is blocked or hits. Okay. So speeding up his pokes, the crouching medium punch and standing medium kick are his best pokes to convert into drive rush and knockdowns, but they're adding more hurt boxes. Crouch heavy punch, which is his anti-air, buffs from 9 to 8 frame startup. Reduce horizontal blowback when hitting an airborne opponent. Okay, so they're going to stay closer to you for a strike throw mix after anti-airing. So drink, fix an issue where it would not recover drive gauge. Okay. Light punch, light kick, medium punch, target combo. Advantage on hit on the last attack change from -2 to -1 frames. I wonder what that actually has implications for. Full moon kick, forward medium kick punch. Jamie will no longer drink if the kick button is held after the second attack hits. I don't know if this is just a nerf to the, or a change to the input, or if they got rid of the ability to drink after the overhead. This is the overhead target combo, right? So forward heavy punch, heavy kick, or back heavy punch. I don't remember which attack this is. Whatever, doesn't seem that consequential. Rekkas can now be canceled on the final hits at level 3 or OD into level 2. They added some scaling though. Increase the distance travel forward by light and medium. Yeah, so the more consistent usage for the Rekkas for Jamie. So swagger step, the lunge punch, increase blowback time in the medium and heavy versions when hitting an airborne opponent. Let's see. DP. Added 3 active frames in the light version and reduced recovery by 3 frames. Added 2 active frames in the medium and reduced recovery by 2. Lowered blowback on the active frames. Added above, and so they buffed the active frames with this DP. There was a lot of instances where his DP would just whiff. So they buffed the active frames. So that's good for consistency for Jamie. Light A.K.I, breakdance kick. Additional attack hitbox to the 3rd and 4th attacks during the combo only, making it easier to hit airborne opponents, so more consistency for the combos. And then heavy was buffed from 26 to 25 frames. So that's kind of good. The heavy could sometimes be used as anti-projectile. So that's kind of that one little frame buff can help for sure. Okay, Jamie received for sure some buffs. The ability to combo into his Rekkas to super will ease some of the restrictions on his combo routing and maybe let him hit confirm fish for a Rekka and confirm to a level 3. The buffs to the pokes are solid, but also I appreciate the extended hurt boxes. Seems like a solid, nice buff to his consistency overall. Nothing crazy though. Manon has a unique ability to pull opponents toward her. With 2 target combos, we made changes to their hit effects when the first attack lands as a punish counter. We wanted to offset Manon's slow movement speed by improving her ability to move around and take the initiative after those attacks. On the other hand, we've increased the risk of standing medium punch when it misses and tweaked the disadvantage of the attack on block. Rip Manon burnout infinites, making it less likely that Manon can string together consecutive standing medium punches on an opponent in burnout. So medium punch, medium kick now produces a knockdown, allowing Manon to start her wake-up games on it. Okay, so instead of pulling in for Oki, produces a knockdown. Standing heavy punch now launches the opponent while pulling them in, so you can directly go into a combo from overdrive, quarter circle forward kick. So you get a combo? You hit confirm into a combo now? You could... I don't know if this is necessarily a buff or a nerf, though. So she can hit the heavy punch target combo is very hit confirmable. You can get more damage on hit confirms, which reduces the amount of gambling and adds more consistency to her game plan for sure. And I guess you can combo into a solid knockdown where you can still get the command grab mix. Medium punch, medium kick giving a knockdown, I suppose gives you more corner carry as well. Depends on the knockdown advantage. These seem both like buffs to increase her stability. Other adjustments include removing the knockdown effects on light version of Rond Point, giving more diversity between the various strengths in the move. Now, after the light version hits, Manon can continue with her offensive in ways she couldn't previously. Wait. So, that's the quarter circle forward kick. So her ballerina kick that launches, her launching kick won't knock down. Okay. Because the reason why I was saying it's kind of a trade-off on the target combos now producing a knockdown, standing resets are powerful because they avoid allowing people to back roll or not, right? The difference between back roll and not is not as big of a deal in this game compared to Street Fighter V, because the knockdown timing is the same. But sometimes having a standing reset, especially as a grappler, is really powerful because they instantly have to guess. They instantly have to guess what's going on. So you could potentially have different combo enders purposely go for the light version, keep them standing, and get an okie doke command grab right there. So they move the ability to get a standing reset from her more confirmable target combos to the light version of her combo ender. So it sounds like you can more effectively choose when to go for this. I do feel like that makes her a little bit more consistent. Will it be worth it for the trade-offs of her medium punch nerfs? I don't know. Standing medium punch. Recovery changed from 14 to 15 frames. This move is also kind of spammable, so having some more time to whiff punish would be nice. I wish they added an extended hurt box, though, for this. Knockback time and hit increased by 1 frame. Advantage on block changed from -1 to -2 frames. Okay, so that means in Burnout, instead of being, what was she, +3, she's going to be +2 now? So how fast is the startup of this move? I forget. So she used to be +3. This is a 5-frame move or 7-frame. So it would trade with lights. Was that what it was? There'll be a 5-frame gap now. Yeah. So lights will interrupt that. I can still see there being ambiguous distances where your jab might whiff between a medium to a medium because it has really good range. So there might still be times where you try to check and your light whiffs and you get punish countered. So you probably got to lab the interactions there. But yeah, rip to the autopilot Manon loops. Will still be a dangerous situation when you're in Burnout. She's still going to have frame advantage and can still check you. But it's going to be a much more dynamic situation. She is overall nerfed, which does not make sense. I don't know if I consider her overall nerfed. Let me see. Crouching medium punch, recovery change from 13 to 15 when the attack misses. Expanded hurt box forward in frames 14 through 15. I love me a good hurt box extension. Not gonna lie. Crouching light kick, advantage on block change from -5 to -3. So they buffed her drive rush low pressure. Oh, she got hit with the system mechanics scaling though. The crouching medium kick scaling. Yeah, so I think in general, a lot of the characters are going to have these buffs to make it so that you always have one plus unblock drive rush low option to coincide with the adjustments to perfect parry, so that the high-low game becomes more emphasized. Yeah, she definitely got some nerfs, but I guess the question is, do the changes from the hit confirm and the ability to get consistent damage from her heavy punch target combo into a combo, is that worth the trade-off? Is she overall buffed? No. It's going to be, I can't really weigh the trade-off here. It sounds like they made changes to improve her consistency to a degree. She definitely seems less gambly. I don't know if she's nerfed overall or buffed overall. It's hard for me to weigh that right now. But I wouldn't flat out call this either, for sure. I wouldn't flat out call her nerfed. But if you're Manon hopeful, looking to take Capcom Cup off this patch, no, it's gonna buff. It's more of a buff towards improving your skill. You got to be a more solid player. Buffs to consistency here. Like I can see Idom, for example, taking advantage of these buffs. But if you're kind of a whack player, you're not going to get carried by this. So that's my take here. Kimberly, we've given Kimberly Shuriken bomb spread different abilities on each strength level, which will increase the number of variations at her disposal. Other changes are primarily ones based on the common adjustments. Shoryuken bomb spread, light, medium, heavy. By pressing light plus medium or medium plus heavy, you can change the detonation timing between the Shoryuken bombs, giving Kimberly new combo possibilities. Allow Kimberly to break down the opponent with strikes and throws, so smart placement will give Kimberly a big advantage. That already existed to a degree. There was different variations of the bomb, but they added more. I forgot how many she had before. Maybe it was just there were 2 timings. Oh, this is on the perfect sorry, this is on the OD version. Okay. So wait, you can throw out 2 bombs at once and they can detonate at different times? Ooh, okay. This might get funky. Lucian Prism Strikes, Light Punch, Medium Punch, Heavy Kick, her target combo. It was a little overshadowed compared to Kimberly's other target combos, so we changed it so that the opponent's hit reaction to give Kimberly a better advantage. Especially true when in the corner, so you can place your Shoryuken bombs to continue with the advantage. Now Kimberly will be able to keep her unique situations even when she starts her offense with light attacks. I don't know, man. Why are you trying to buffer bomb setups? Why are you trying to... What are you trying to pull here? Why do we need to buff the bombs? That's her identity? No, her identity is random run throw loop. I wouldn't mind them buffing the bombs if you start nerfing the other bullshit. Her identity is her identity is just random bullshit go. What do you mean? Her identity is putting you in a blender and just guessing nonstop. Crouching medium punch, recovery when the attack misses, change from 13 to 15. Okay, so a common thread here is adding more whiff recovery on a lot of the stronger buffer options to Dry Brush cancel. So you can see here, increasing the recovery, expanded hurt box. Listen, when they go for the footsies patches, I'm always a fan. When they start expanding hurt boxes and all that kind of jazz, I always appreciate that. Always. It might sound boring on the surface, but having easier access to guaranteed whiff punishes on people fishing for Dry Brush cancel and neutral feels good. I like that. I like that a lot. Reduce hurt box around the arm backwards. Okay, so a big hurt box extension and recovery. Crouching light kick, reduce pushback on block. Okay, that's part of the changes to improve the light string. So everybody's getting better light strings with crouching light kick and better low Dry Brush if they don't have one. Kimberly already had combos from Dry Brush crouching light kick. She got hit with the scaling on the Dry Brush medium. So the recovery on final attack on hit changed from 24 to 19 frames. So they changed the knockdown of this target combo to probably set up for a nice auto kill frame setup for some kind of bullshit strike throw mix with the bombs. So just increasing your blender potential. So it might sound like a nerf to change the recovery and reduce it, but it sounds like they're doing that on purpose to like set it up frame perfect so you get a perfect strike throw, most likely. Back up on edge, expanded hurt box that lasts until the end of the technique, only when the attack misses forward. Okay, so they increase the whiff punishability of this because you can now fish for her elbow and neutral when spaced. It can even like combo after, so they made it more whiff punishable. As soon as she works successful command inputs, whatever. Kimberly's still Kimberly with more sauce and slightly more whiff punish ability. Marisa. The appeal of Marisa was clobbering people with heavy strikes for massive damage, but her combo starters had big openings, and combined with her slow walk speed compared to other characters, she had a hard time engaging in the neutral. Marisa will now be able to get a damage a little bit easier than before via different approaches thanks to the changes made to her low attacks in conjunction with the perfect parry changes and updates that make her combos and counterattacks hit their mark better from normal moves. Additionally, Super Art Level 1 Javelin of Marisa will active on a throw. Huh? Super Art Level 1 Javelin Marisa will active on a throw, and the attack range for the first hit of Super Art Level 2 Meteorite has been expanded. So you can no longer throw her Level 1? It's kind of some grammar issues going on here. Sounds like you can no longer throw the Level 1. This will now give Marisa more opportunities to use her Super Art Gauge when on the defensive. So they buffed her defense versus throws. Yeah, her level 1, she like reels back, and if you hit her, it activates the counter, and she throws you, or she hits you. So now you can't throw it. I wonder if that means you have to stare at her and block it. That definitely improves her defense, because throws are a huge problem for Marisa. Crouching light punch. Advantage on hit changed from +3 to +4 frames. Which means on counter hit, it's going to be +6. What's her 6 frame option? She doesn't really have great 6 frames, right? Her lights were really bad, though. Disadvantage on block changed from -3 to -1. So drive rush crouching light punch is now plus 3, which means she could get a tick throw there. Oh, so you can now do drive rush cancel into crouching light punch and to get a true tick throw. And yeah, probably drive rush into jab will be... So if you do that also on hit, you're going to be +8, which means you can get probably a combo. Back heavy punch is 8 frames, I think. Yeah, so you're definitely going to get... You can do crouching medium punch, drive rush cancel to jab to keep it airtight and get combos on hit and take throws on block now. Because her lights had really bad advantage. So they improved her drive rush cancel game. Crouching light kick, advantage on hit change from 0 to +2. So once again, she's also part of that club. They're buffing everyone's drive rush low game a little bit with the lights. So she's going to get +6, get a combo from drive rush to crouching light kick, which improves high-low game. Yeah, I don't know if she can do light drive rush cancel combos. I don't know about that. Maybe she can. I wouldn't read into that, but for sure it's going to improve her utility of medium into light on drive rush cancel. Crouching medium kick, advantage on hit, change from +2 to +3. Initial scaling of 20%. Huh. You never really see too many drive rush cancels or crouching medium kick with Marisa. So, yeah. More high-low options. Crouching heavy punch can now be canceled into super art until the second active frame. So the hold version launches. Maybe you get an interesting combo with that now. It sounds like they're making it hit confirmable into super. Heavy punch hold, increase buffer input time at the end of recovery. I guess this just makes it easier so you don't drop your combos after doing charge heavy punch. When I played Marisa to Master, I did feel that sometimes I would miss charging moves because I would start holding it too early. So they made it easier to land that, whatever. Heavy punch, increased knockdown time on hit by 7 frames. So better Oki on that target combo. Reduce hurt box around the feet. They made her phalanx better. They made her launch punch and anti-air. She needs it. Marisa deserves nothing. They reduced the counter damage of her super, but it works on throws if she's holding it. Level 2. Okay, whatever. Yeah, so minor tweaks to Marisa. I think this does overall improve her, especially the level 1 changes. And then she has a little bit better high lows and better lights. Minor tweaks. I think she's a little bit better. I don't think this will change much for her, but it is better. Especially the defense. I think having this super level 1 on defense is kind of big. It's the most prominent change in my opinion. Like, think about it. They made it so that you have to immediately throw after drive rush cancel to level to jab. Apparently, I don't really see that in any of these examples, but that means you can immediately use level 1 mid screen. People do low 4 drive rush cancel to jab. The level 1 will win. So it just like there's situations where she'll be able to defensively use her supers. So, and then maybe if this anti-air is actually good, she was pretty weak to jump ins. I don't know how strong this will actually be, but if this actually anti-airs well, that could be a buff too, right? So it's hard to say. It sounds like they made her a little bit more stable though. Lily. Adjustment summary. Lily's anti-air attacks, such as Horn Breaker, Back Heavy Punch, and Crouching Heavy Punch, and other attacks saw their proficiencies downward. But techniques that move her forward, such as her forward dash and Desert Storm, 4+ Heavy Punch, got adjusted to be stronger. In addition, Medium Tomahawk Buster, her, what is that, DP, is now easier to incorporate into combos, which is a big change for her. Lily has good combo ability into her light attacks. So now when she doesn't have Windclad stock, she can use it to cover situations where previously only Overdrive Counter Spire was an option. There's also situations where standing and crouching light punch would not hit with the attack despite their long range. We believe Lily will be able to maintain her drive gauge while fighting these situations. Super Heart 2 had a longer and further period of invulnerability compared to other Super Heart, so it's been adjusted. The startup for the standing version is not changed to a standing hitbox, which change made so that it doesn't lose out to anti-air special moves after the screen transition. So they buffed her ability to combo into DP again? Sounds like a bunch of nothing. Wait a minute. Oh, forward dash, increased forward movement distance. That can be something. Lily already sneaks in enough dashes into command grab. That could be something. Crouching Likey, reduce pushback on hit and block. That's going to improve her light pressure. Crouching Heavy Punch. No longer hits an opponent behind Lily on active frames 1 through 2. Y'all better start cross-cutting. Y'all better learn how to fucking anti-air. That move was... This was almost as bad as perfect parry anti-air. Her ability to sit there and just spam crouching heavy punch was so one note and monotonous. If you better jump back air to air, you better walk under crosscut, you better do something. You better do something that requires you to add another element to your mental stack besides just sit there and mash. Oh, thank God. That was so mindless. That was so mindless. Chakotay in shambles, he'll be okay. He'll do what needs to be done. But that was a very mindless situation. I am so down for, even if a character's low tier, nerfing mindless stuff like that is always a plus in my book. Jumping medium punch can now be canceled into special moves. Oh, what? Okay, she might have air-to-air combos. Hornbreaker, back heavy punch. Which one is back heavy punch? I can't... Is that where she pokes forward with the stick? I don't remember which move this is. Expanded hurt box around the body now disappears 3 frames later and remains until the end of recovery. Okay, so easier to whiff punish. That's sending medium punch. She opens her arms. I gotta see it. I can't recall which one it is. First hit, forward heavy punch. Oh, this is back heavy punch. Excuse me. This is back heavy punch. Forward heavy punch. So they buffed forward heavy punch. They're still trying to buff that heavy punch starter combo. Increased active frames on Super Art 2. Okay, whatever. So Lily, I don't know what they're trying to do with her, man. This character, they got to take her back to the drawing board. They nerfed the anti-air. That's all I care about. The rest of this feels like minor inconsequential buffs. This is the only one I'd have to see what this actually implies in practice, because this could actually be kind of scary, depending on from what knockdowns or what combo sequences, pressure sequences she could reset into a dash for pressure. That could be pretty scary. So this could be inconsequential or a good buff for her. But I still feel like they're really scraping the bottom of the barrel to figure out what to do with this character. JP, the $1 million character. Other than damage adjustments for specific special moves, there are no big changes for JP. Initial scaling was added to his combo starters, medium and heavy Torbalan, the quarter circle forward medium kick and heavy kick, and crouching medium kick, increasing the damage on his overdrive Stribog, his quarter circle forward punch, when it hits with the tip of the attack and rounds out his main adjustments. Okay, sounds like they did nothing. Here, let me stand up for this, by the way. It sounds like they didn't change anything to JP, but nerfed some of his combo scaling. Crouching MK, so they nerfed the 20% damage scaling, which is pretty big, and JP's was one of the stronger ones. When I think of like driver's crouching medium kick, I think of Kimberly and JP. So that's a bit of a nerf to him for sure. But overall, the high-low game is buffed, so he has one of the best drivers low highs in the game, I believe. So Overdrive Stribog, which is his OD Fireball. No, sorry, that's his OD Swipe. Damage for the second attack changed from 400 to 800. So they changed his combo route for him to give him better options, to more reasons to use this. So they're buffing the damage, it seems like. Departure, the quarter circle punch, the teleport. Fixed an issue where inputting a command with specific timing would cause departure Shadow's animation to be played regardless if departure's attack on the hip, whatever. And then his the fireballs, initial scaling of 20%. Huh. So the medium kick is the overhead, if I remember, and the heavy kick is the low. So they okay. So this, because of the perfect parry changes, I think they nerf the high low. So if he locks you down with, say, in the corner, swipe knockdown, OD portal above your head, pops that with the high low mix with the fireballs, it scales now. Juri. We looked to adjust Juri's ability to lock down opponents with some attacks, as well as the easiness and risk for opponents to punish her. Jumping heavy punch, the hurt box is expanded to make it easier to trade with anti-air attacks. Thank you. And the advantage on block was adjusted so that it's now +1 instead of +5 when blocked by opponents of average height. Okay, that means she can't throw if you mash jab. Now Juri players will have to exercise more caution after forcing an opponent to block this attack. They aim for their head. I like. Back heavy kick adjustments for mate so that this attack can better snipe attacks going for your feet in the neutral. And with the change in frames on hit, you can now combo into her quarter circle forward medium kick and heavy fuhajin quarter circle back heavy kick. Crouching light punch adjusted the attack hitbox for the technique upwards as the attack level was low and interfering with some of the armor hitboxes of some characters. So they nerfed this interaction against armor. So her crouching jab might not, I don't know if it beat like Zangief's charge heavy punch or something before, but won't do that if it did anymore. And then crouching medium punch added, yeah, so the similar nerfs to spammable hit confirmable buttons into driver's cancel added more recovery and expanded hurt box. So forward heavy kick advantage on hit changed from -2 to +2. So is forward heavy kick the 2-hit kick she does? She walks forward and goes 1-2. It's been a while since I've dabbled with the Juri. It's the hop where she hops forward. The big hop forward boot that punish counters. So if it counter hits, she gets a combo now. Reduce hurt box around the feet from frames 3, 6 backwards. Slid the attack hitbox on the third active frame and second attack downward. So they made this not... They made this beat low attacks better? They buffed that. Weird. I don't feel like that move should be buffed. To beat lows. So basically the big change was nerfing jump heavy punch. Oh, this is back heavy kick. Sorry, I keep reading this incorrectly. Back heavy kick. So they did nerf back heavy, or they buffed back heavy kick. Back heavy kick is the axe kick. Kind of inconsequential changes to Juri, except they nerfed her jump heavy punch, which was also very spammable, which I am a fan of. Thanks, Capcom. Dee Jay. Dee Jay's adjustments are primarily focused on tuning heavy jackknife maximum and overdrive just cool. His neutral game won't see much change. Seems like this whole patch won't see much change. But we adjusted him so his combo ability and anti-air proficiency is a little better. Heavy jackknife, charge down plus up heavy kick. The startup for heavy jackknife maximum is faster, making it easier to use as an anti-air because of the faster startup time. Huh. Can also combo from an up-close overdrive air slasher. So the projectile, OD projectile, will combo into the jackknife. So, I mean, that could be useful because sometimes you just, in your pressure sequences, you would just do button into OD fireball. So if it happens to hit, it counter hits them, you can get a combo extension with that. Overdrive just cool. The opponent's recovery on block is increased, meaning that with the fastest timing transition into overdrive funky slicer, light kick after overdrive just cool is a natural combo string. We also adjusted his overdrive waning moon, medium kick after overdrive just cool, as it had limited use, and now chips away at the opponent's drive gauge better, so it can be used in the situations when up close. They also buffed his crouching light kick string. So they changed the heavy jackknife from 6 to 5 frame startup, so stronger anti-air, and also new combo ability. So just cool, advantage on block changed from -2 to -18 frames. Really, not much has changed. TJ seems to be the same. Cammy. Cammy's adjustments focus on adding more combo options and adjusting her situation after an attack hits. Swing combination, heavy punch, heavy kick. Considering how easy it is to hit with this attack. Thank you, Heaven Drill. Considering how easy it is to hit with this attack and its ability to carry opponents into the corner, we adjusted this move so that after the final attack and hitting with a medium spiral arrow, this situation after hooligan combination is slightly worse. I will have to see what they're talking about. Heavy cannon spike, the DP, the attack hitbox on the tip of the attack was higher than other characters, so allowing it to win out against standing in crouching medium punch. So we've adjusted so that the attack hitbox so that it's at an average height compared to other attacks. So they don't want random heavy DP to hit crouching buttons. So heavy punch, heavy kick, cancel timing for final attacks now 2 frames later. So that hurts the advantage after medium spiral arrow, so that you can't do hooligan Oki because you cancel later, so you get less frame advantage. They're in the air for less time. I don't know. This is so nothing. This is so nothing. All right, Cammy got nothing. Ryu's adjustments are aimed at tweaking his situation after special move connects and improving the abilities of his attacks after using Denjin Charge. Why? By improving Ryu's situation after hitting with heavy shuriken or super art level 3, we're looking to achieve a balance between Ryu's traditional high damage and continuing its offense, which we hope will increase the expected amount of damage he can dish out in a single interaction. I feel like Ryu is pretty solid at keeping his offense going, especially with all the Hashogeki changes. While Ryu can continue on the offense after a big hit, Denjin Charge requires him to temporarily stop his offensive, so we look to improve his boosted attacks in general to make it worth charging. I guess, but dude, your Hashogeki enhanced Denjin Hashogeki is so fucking good. Like, it's already worth it, right? You already made Hashogeki, Denjin Hashogeki heavy and OD absurd. Ryu players will now see better rewards when using these techniques as they require 2 separate resources, Super Art and Denjin Stock. Oh, especially true for Super Art level 1 and 2, which will give him situation and combo damage previously unattainable. So they're buffing his supers with Denjin Charge. Stand Medium Punch, expanded Hurt Box. Okay, so more whiff punishability on Stand Medium Punch. What about Stand Heavy Punch? I want a... When I think about one of the prime examples of what I wish, which is obviously not coming true this patch, my wish for this patch was that Drive Rush got the world's fattest extended hurt box. Now, I do see that they're adding extended hurt boxes on certain normals, which is good, to make it easier to intercept, because the problem with Drive Rush, in my opinion, when people do it raw, is that it's a loaded minigame not in your favor. If you press the button too late, you get counter hit because you didn't check the Drive Rush in time. You press it too early, you whiff by a pixel, and they punish counter the shit out of you, and you die. Okay? Ryu Drive Rush Heavy Punch is one of the prime offenders. When I think about this problem I have with the game, I think about Ryu into Drive Rush Heavy Punch. Massive fuck you button that he can Drive Rush into from like half screen away, and if you try to check it, you explode. And if you block it, he harasses the shit out of you, and your drive gauge gets liquidated. Why? This is like, if you're gonna go the normal by normal extended hurt box route, what about the Shoto Heavy Punches? Things like that. That's really what's disappointing me. Watch Ryu's Denjin level 1. We'll get to it. Hold on. I just wish... they're not doing much with this patch. Okay. Crouch and Light Kick. Advantage on a block from -3 to -1. Yeah, buffing the high-low game with the lights. Crouching Medium Punch. Recovery chain from 13 to 15. I do appreciate all of these, making all the classic Drive Rush button mediums a little bit more whiff punishable. Jump Heavy Kick. Attack startup chain from 12 to 10. Interesting. Forward Heavy Kick. Senpu Kyaku. Expanded the proximity block hitbox that appears between frames 2 through 10. So the hop kick puts you in proximity block so you can't walk away. Heavy DP. Landing recovery chain from 15 to 12 frames, so better Oki. Knockdown time increased by 5 frames when attack hits on active frames 1 through 2. So better Oki on heavy DP. Normal Hadoken. Recovery on hit change according to strength. Light +1 to +2. Medium -1 to 0. So they buffed the fireballs and they buffed the damage. Wow. Okay. When did they start? When were these changes decided? Did they finish this patch like 6 months ago? Yeah, before Kusanagi won UFA, which was about a year ago almost. What is going on? So Denjin Charge Hadoken. Technique length change from 42 to 40. -3 to -1. Damage 800. Dude, what? Overdrive. Hadoken from damage from 800 to 1000. Projectile speed increased. That's huge. More variability on projectile speed and having an even faster OD version. Denjin Charge Hadoken. Damage change from 100 to 1200. Okay, so not only do you get hit by Ryu and die when he punches you, you're also going to get hit by the fireballs and die when he doesn't punch you. Overdrive Aerial Tatsumaki Senpu Kyaku. So OD Tatsu after the forward heavy kick. Okay, whatever. Super Art 1. Increase projectile speed. Reduce attack hitbox downward. Whatever. So Super Art 1 with Denjin Charge. doubled projectile speed, increased total technique length from 86 to 89 frames, increased number of hits from 5 to 8, reduced hit stop block stun by 3 frames for hits 1 through 7, added a hitbox that will only hit during combos during active frames 1 through 2, making it easier to hit opponents in front of you. They doubled the projectile speed. All right, anyone got the vid? They doubled his projectile speed. He's going to snipe you with level 1 from full screen away. Bruh. Why does he have a hit scan super? What the hell? Super Art 2 Denjin Charge. Shorten time to charge level 2 by 2 frames for both normal and Denjin Charge. Change level 2 on hit effect to match level 3. So there's... How did we know there was a 3rd level to his Denjin Charge? Add a 20% combo scaling to level 2 Shin Hashigeki. And then now he has Oki after level 3 as well, which he didn't really have before. So that means that from just a heavy punch, you can confirm into level 2 and get the combo. Did this require? Could you do this from punish counter before? Normally, you'd have to do a whole juggle combo into this. And you're not in burnout or nothing. And did he build another... In the meter build, he built half a bar of super in the process. He's close to having another level 2 already. All right. It is time for even more Ryu mains to eat. I thought Season 2, man, Ryu was really good in Season 2, and it showed. It showed, but they are clearly giving the... You know, Luke used to be, for a while, they were trying to push Luke as a protagonist. They're bringing Ryu to the forefront by force right now. All right. I mean... These are the most exciting changes so far, I can't lie. All the other changes have been boring as shit, and then they just went full MVC on Ryu for some reason. Strange. This does not feel like it exists in the same balance patch as everything else we've read so far. Honda. Honda has received a number of expansions to his combo pieces in addition to the character-wide moves explained in the general balance overview. Hey, what up, Hippo Dippo Joe? Appreciate the 4 months. Overdrive Taiho Cannon Lift. The quarter circle forward kicks down punch. That's the launcher from the sumo stance. By altering where the opponent lands after being launched by Overdrive Taiho Cannon Lift and reducing its combo count, it should now significantly differ from its normal version. It will now link after hitting with the second hit of standing heavy kick or after power stomp, even while in the center of the screen. Hondo will now be able to use a follow-up attack after it, unlike with the normal version. So you can combo into the OD launcher easier. Sumo Headbutt. Perfect parry was an effective countermeasure against the safe unblocked sumo headbutt. One of the few good uses of perfect parry. But now that Honda's opponents will all have to also worry about inputting the correct direction while closing the distance, we've decided this would be too effective at keeping his opponents away. We've reduced the amount of drive gauge damage Sumo Headbutt deals in order to make sure opponents who are unable to parry in time aren't overly punished for blocking. I'll take it. I'll take it. So the reasoning here is if you walk forward and then he does headbutt and you parry, but you don't immediately hit back in time, you won't get the perfect parry, right? So you're going to miss, by navigating the screen, you'll miss a lot more perfect parries against Honda. So I'm down for any kind of nerfs to headbutt. I'm down for it. E-Train, thanks for the big 2 months. Have a good night as well. Nice to meet you as well. Thank you very much. Take care. Stand medium punch, increased recovery on miss from 13 to 15 frames. That's great. Stand medium punch, they buffed it to be a super strong move. Plus on block, amazing range, moves and forward. Very spammable. I like increased recovery on that. Thank you. Stand heavy kick, added a hitbox that can only hit during combo, making it easier to combo. Okay. Crouching medium kick has a scaling, universal. Anything else? Sumo headbutt. It went from on light medium 7,500 drive gauge damage to 6,000, and from heavy from 10,000 to 7,500. Decent nerf. So they gave him more combo opportunities and nerfed headbutt. Cool. But think about these changes versus Ryu. Blanka. Blanka's most significant change is his ability to combo into his overdrive wild hunt. Looking for opportunities to successfully connect with a punish counter stand heavy punch, or after hitting an opponent with a normal out of drive rush after they've been launched high in the air. Make use of the large advantage it gives on it alongside the opponent's inability to back roll on a hard knockdown to inflict heavy pressure, especially when paired with Blanka Chan Doll. Which one is overdrive wild hunt? Command grab. So they changed his command grab? He can combo into his OD command grab? Okay, so they buffed crushing heavy punch damage. Removed hurtbox around the arms 2 frames before hitbox appears, so they buffed the button, that big crouching heavy punch poke. Hurtbox around the arms 1 frame before the hitbox appears is now invincible to strikes. Okay, so it's still weaker against projectiles. So they're buffing his crouching heavy punch as a poke. So Overdrive Wild Hunt can now be used in both grounded and aerial combos. So I don't know if that's going to improve its combo damage. That's kind of weird, but I guess the idea is that it's a hard knockdown. I suppose that's the advantage there. Guile. Guile's projectiles are now a bit easier to use. Why? Were they hard to use? Did anyone think Guile's projectiles were hard to use? Sonic Boom, Flash Kick, and a number of his combo pieces have been extended. While these changes boost his combo damage and projectile-based game plan, Knee Bazooka can no longer jump over the enemy, making it much more difficult for him to swap sides with his opponent when hitting with a strike. This means he will have to be careful to not give up much ground, lest he find himself stuck in the corner. I guess that's their logic. They got rid of his side swap, so it'll be harder for him to get out of the corner, so improve his other parts of his game plan. Sonic Boom and other projectiles. Guile's projectiles will now disappear faster when they are judged to have left the screen, allowing him to shoot projectiles faster in situations when his Sonic Boom misses after being jumped over. With total on-screen projectile time getting a boost, this will improve Guile's... What? Why? What? Just make it so he can't side swap. Fuck him. Like, what? What do you mean? Whatever. Whatever, man. I don't know. While Sonic Hurricane has always had a hitbox that only appears during a combo, this hitbox would not hit opponents that had been blown back by projectiles. This has been changed, making it easier for Guile to combo into a Sonic Hurricane on opponents who have been wall splatted by Overdrive Sonic Cross. Okay, sure. They improved that weird wall splat combo that not many people were using. Standing heavy kick, advantage on hit changed from 3 to 4 frames at an initial scaling of 20%. Huh. Crouching light kick, recovery change from 13 to 12, advantage on block chain from -5 to -3. Right, so improving his low game for his lights, like everybody else, it'll be +1 on drive rush. So he will have now a plus on block drive rush low, by the way. So before, drive rush crouching medium kick was always -1. Really strong because of the range and its ability to combo into flash kick and just catch people off guard and condition you to block low. But it wasn't plus on block. So now he will have an ability to up close drive rush crouching light kick, which is like the universal high-low change basically going on here. Knee bazooka. Send a clash hitbox downward from frames 5 to 20. Basically meaning you can't go over the opponent. Down forward heavy kick. Guile high kick. Increase hit stop on punish counter from 13 to 20 frames. Reduce starting combo count on punish counter. Extended the time and the height the opponent is blown back on punish counter. Not exactly sure what this translates to, but maybe easier combos on punish counter on the upside down kick. All right. I don't know. Weird. It might be inconsequential, this fireball change. They just wanted to throw Guile players a bone. Seems like not much. Lost his side swap for the most part. Ken had two major focuses for his changes. Offensive and defensive properties of his Jinrai kick. Did they finally go after it? Did they finally deal with the most spammable move in the game? And his positioning after performing a forward throw in the corner. Ken's various offensive options force his opponents to make difficult split-second decisions where making one wrong move often meant not only getting put in the corner, but also led to Ken's easily looped corner pressure. Facts. With the changes to perfect parry, Ken should find his commonly used normals parried less, giving his Jinrai kick a boost in power. As such, we've reduced it and its follow-ups and power slightly. Yeah, because imagine, Jinrai has a low follow-up and an overhead, and you're going to be getting the high-low parry reward a lot less often, so kind of makes sense to look at that. We've preserved Ken's advantageous situations when hitting with his strikes, as well as his corner carry, but I've touched up his Jinrai kick, Kazi-Kama Shin kick, and his positioning after forward throw in the corner to give his opponents more choices to fight against his onslaught, as a few characters in particular were very limited in their options. Light medium Jinrai kick, Kaze-Kama Shin kick, which is the forward light kick. That's the low, I believe. And medium Jinrai kick is now more likely to be punished by a fast normal attack on block. Oh. Additionally, Kaze-Kama Shin kick, often used to punish those who attack while at frame disadvantage, will now result in Ken being knocked down when he is counter hit during it. Huh. An anonymous gifter. Thanks for the 5 gifted subs. Appreciate that. Congrats to everyone who got dunked. Enjoy your mid-tier emotes. Appreciate that. Let me read this one more time. These changing make using Jinrai kick and its follow-ups a bit more risky, as well as reducing... No, the other one. The Shin kick, often used to punish those who attack while at frame disadvantage, will now result in Ken being knocked down when he is counter hit during it. What does that mean? That means you will get counter hit during... If you go for the Shin kick, you will now result in Ken being knocked down when he is counter hit. If you interrupt him going for Shin kick, he gets knocked down? He gets popped into the air? Counter hit Jinrai low knocks down now? Oh, they meant the opposite? This seems like a typo. Also, right after even more typos. These changing make using Jinrai kick and its follow-ups a bit more risky, as well as reducing the reward for successfully hitting with them. Finally, both Jinrai kick and Kaze-Kama Shin kick will deal slightly less damage to the drive gauge, thank you, easing some of the pressure from blocking them. Ken is plus 28 of the knockdown and very close, so he still gets Oki out of successfully landing the low. Oh, he can't hit confirm. Okay. Well, you see what I was saying before about standing resets with Manon. Sometimes standing resets are stronger, but normally on counter hit there, he would get a combo follow-up. He would be able to go into another stand light kick. So normally you could just go into another knockdown anyways with like a DP or something. So I guess this just cuts out the fluff in the middle. So it's reduced reward, I suppose. Hey, Arthur Gomez, thanks for the $10 super chat on YouTube. I see you. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Okay, that's a nerf. It's not a total destruction nerf there, but it's a nerf. Increase distance from opponent on hit in the corner from forward throw. I already saw a clip on Twitter. There's still a walk-up throw loop. So I'm not sure what this changes, to be honest. Brian, if they saw your video where you kept spamming Jinrai loops to reach master, I have never played Ken in Street Fighter 6, not even once. So I want you to stop for a second and consider which Caucasian male Street Fighter YouTuber you're thinking of, and you can reassess it. Not even a single time. Tekken Season 2 has hit Street Fighter 6? Nah, this is not a Tekken Season 2 moment. It's just boring. Standing Light Punch expanded forward momentum from Drive Rush by 3 frames. Extended forward momentum from Drive Rush by 3 frames. Is this a nerf or a buff? I suppose if you did Drive Rush jab and then before the active frames occur, you're still moving forward, that is a nerf. So Drive Rush Standing Light Punch should be slightly easier to check. That is a nerf. So I don't know how much that will actually impact that. But, you know, the light punch is not going to be active till frame 4. So that means he's going to slide into you a little bit more. Also, yeah, what you guys were saying on the throw nerf, excuse me. What's up, Adrian? Driver's jab gives strike throw shimmy now from neutral. What, is that a nerf? Are we back? I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. Buff in some ways? How is that a buff? Puts him in better range to shimmy? This sounds like it's meant to be the change where if you do low forward for both maybe checking in neutral, if you do raw drive rush, but also low forward to jab, drive rush cancel. Sounds like this is intended so that on defense, if you mash throw, they can't walk out of range from it. Standing medium punch, separated hitboxes. Hitboxes, other than the low part of the character, have been reduced downwards. Extended hitbox around the legs. They buffed to stand medium punch. Crouching light punch, extended forward momentum from drive rush by 4 frames. So I think these are the changes intended to push you closer, push Ken closer to you so that you can throw them right away. At least that's what the intention was. I don't know how this is going to play out in action. That's what the opening summary mentioned. So that if you mash throw on defense after they do low forward, drive rush into jab, you can throw them if they try to walk away and shimmy. With recovery and hurt box on crouching medium punch. No hard knockdown on sweep. So light Jinrai, reduce drive gauge damage on block from -3000 to -2000. Nice. Expended hurt box forward during recovery for the medium versions only. Light medium Jinrai kick. So the medium version will be easier to fuzzy interrupt on the overhead to low, is what I'm reading out of this. So normally a common strategy is to fuzzy time a button so that you block the low, but if they try to go for the overhead, you can interrupt in the gap, but that is spacing dependent by your light. So what I'm reading here is it's going to be easier to use your fuzzy interrupt, but only on the medium version. I'm not sure when the light versus medium version comes into play here. So the low also is -3000 to -2000. So blocking is just going to be more effective. Thrust kick, forward plus kick, overdrive, Kazikama shin kick, initial scaling of 40% is Forward plus kick, overdrive, Kazikama shin kick. This is the follow-up after OD Jinrai low? Yeah, so this is the combo into level 2, I guess you would do. So hurt the combo damage there. Super Art 2, advantage on block change from -19 to -5. Increased pushback on block for the last hit. What? Why do they do this? Why? Why? Why are you continuously making... I mean, okay, look. The level 2 is not invincible. It's not a reversal. Which I guess they're following the same logic as Dee Jay. Like, you can throw this out to chip with and be safe. So that means in Burnout, it's going to be -1. So this is just increasing his chip potential. And also, maybe you could throw it out as a footsie tool and be safe. It improves his ability to chip, essentially, for sure, when you're in Burnout, because it's just going to be safe. So you can do a string, like do the OD Jinrai on block, and then just do level 2. That's just a little random. I don't know. Weird. But anyways, Cannon's definitely nerfed. The Jinrai nerf seems solid. The devil's going to be in the details about how easy it is to fuzzy based on the expanded hurtbox forward. That could be huge. Reduced drive gauge is big. But overall, it's still going to be solid. This doesn't seem that bad for Ken. His throw loop seems to still be in the game. I already saw a video of it. I'm not sure what the change will be actually impacting, because you can still walk forward and throw in the corner. Maybe it reduces the situations where you can do that. Okay. He's nerfed a bit. But it will really depend on how much his hurtbox is extended forward. Harder to shimmy as well. Yeah, he's definitely a little bit nerfed. Still going to be pretty good. Chun-li. Chun-li's main areas of focus were helping her ability to fight on the ground, with changes to her crouching heavy kick and 100 lightning kicks, as well as increasing the effectiveness of Tensho kick's ability to anti-air. Crouching heavy kick with the range around the same as her crouching MK. Chun-li's crouching heavy kick was a move with limited effective use. Was it? The 1600 MR Chuns in my ranked pool would like to disagree. That was like the best sweep in the game. Wasn't that only -7 on block? Its range has been increased, making it more useful as both a counter attack and a whiff punish. Did you increase the recovery? Well, it's more unsafe on block now. Okay, thank you. Thank you, okay. It should be better tool in Chun-li's already powerful ground game. Okay, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. Depends on how unsafe they made it, but yeah. Normal overdrive 100 lightning kicks. We've given each strength of 100 lightning kicks their own strengths, making them both easier to use and giving them clear uses. In particular, light 100 lightning kick startup has been changed to 5 frames, helping Chun-li counterattack against certain moves and links where she before lacked an effective choice. Okay. So the light version is much faster, giving her better combo potential in more situations. Overdrive version's increase in damage makes it more valuable as both a combo piece and as a punish counter, giving it a wider range of uses than it was seeing previously. Tensho kicks. They alter the Tensho kick's active frames and hitbox. We've reduced the number of situations where Chun-li will whiff while using it in a combo or as an anti-air. That is fair. Good changes. So, increased whiff punish ability on crouching medium punch. Crouching heavy kick went from -7 to -9, which still means a lot of sweeps sweeps will not punish that on block, but -7 was dumb. But okay, -9, still going to be one of the better sweeps in the game, and they improved its ability to be used with range. So, lab your Chun-li sweep punishes is what I will say. Lab that up, because Chuns will be spamming that. Forward heavy punch, down forward heavy punch. Advantage on hit change from +1 to +2. Reduce active frames from 4 to 3. Is that the slide? No, that's medium. What is down forward heavy punch? Is that overhead? The regular overhead. Right. Okay, the regular overhead. +1 to +2. Okay, whatever. You get a combo and counter hit, maybe. Meaty overhead setups. Down forward plus kick. Falling crane. Whatever. Kikoken. Increase the speed the projectile disappears after active frames end. That's kind of a buff, actually. The active frames end, so it's off the screen sooner, so our zoning improves. Kind of like Guile. Lightning legs, 8 to 5. Hitbox forward. Initial scaling increase, so more combos into light legs. Reduce startup on medium as well, 14 to 12. Heavy, or OD, went from 800 to 1000 damage. Change effect on a successful punish counter from knockback state to backward crumple. So maybe you get new unique combos for using this as a reversal combo punish starter. You get a spin state out of the air. Huh. What is that on block normally? -3. So it's safe on block. I guess maybe they're saying you can fish with this in neutral as a whiff punish tool. Just throw it out. And maybe if you whiff punish them, you get it's like almost like a Hashogeki starter. So I don't know if this is going to be useful for using as a reversal, as a punish for reversal options. You punish negative 8 moves. That as well, right? I guess what's the startup? Yeah, 8 frames. So maybe as a punish starter, it might be what you start punishes with now. Interesting. So the air OD lightning legs. Reduce recovery after landing from 5 to 3. Okay, fine. Tencho kicks had active frames of first hit increased. And extended hitboxes for all hits and versions upwards. Yeah, so they just improved the reliability, the Tencho kicks, which is fine. It would definitely whiff in a lot of situations. Okay, so new utility for OD legs is the main takeaway I have here for Chun-Li. And improved anti-air. Zangief has had the base hurt box around his torso expanded. Oh? Excuse me? They made the big boy bigger? They made the big boy bigger? So I guess they didn't improve the anti-air that much. To be fair, that's Akuma's dive kick. It does that to every anti-air. So Zangief has had the base hurt box around his torso expanded, both weakening his throws and reducing his effectiveness in neutral. With opponents' attacks now easier to hit, hits results in it. With opponent attacks now easier to hit, hits results in and what is effectively a reduction in the range of his own moves. What? With opponent attacks now easier to hit Zangief, hits results in what is effectively a reduction in the range of his own moves. Okay. They're trying to say that because his hurt box is expanded, the effect in practice is that he doesn't have as much range because he's always closer to getting hit by the opponent, forcing him to work harder in neutral than he had to before. Zangief's neutral game was really good. He really outpoked a lot of characters consistently. And also, I did feel like his hurt box did not match his animations in so many situations. Normal overdrive double lariat, overdrive screw pile driver. As a result of the hurt box expansion, Zangief now finds himself a lot more of a distance from his opponent, even when close. In order to ensure his combos and links still function as they did, double lariat's hitbox has been expanded, while OD screw pile driver's range has been increased to preserve Zangief's identity as a grappler. Is OD screw pile driver the regular SPD or the air SPD? So they buffed the OD SPD range. Drive impact. Zangief's drive impact range was already shorter compared to other characters, so in order to reach but not be too short alongside his hurt box changes, we will now move further forward during a drive impact. His range was less? Why did I feel like his range was way more? Huh. Cool Joe, E70, thanks for the 2 months. Appreciate that. So, hurtbox adjustment. Expanded the hurtbox that acts as the torso's base forward while standing and crouching and while in the air. This results in the hurt box of all techniques expanding, not only while blocking or not holding block. Oh, okay. Everything shifted forward. It's essentially closer to you at all times and more in range for your attacks. Nice. Drive Rush. Zangief will now appear slightly further back while moving. This change is purely visual. The distance traveled will remain the same. So wait, you moved his... Oh, no. Okay, so they made it so that his Drive Rush reflects where he is better. They did both. I think some people were expecting them or wanting Capcom to simply move his Drive Rush animation backwards so it aligns with his hurtbox more, because there'd be many examples of people's buttons completely whiffing, because Zangief leans really far forward during Drive Rush. Your button will be completely through his visual model, and it would whiff, because his hurtbox is way retracted back. So they didn't just move his Drive Rush animation backwards, they also moved the hurtbox forward on top of that. So they did both changes. So it should be a lot more consistent and easier to judge how to check his Drive Rush. Spine Buster is down for a throw. Reduce knockback time on hit by 5 frames. Okay, less Oki on that. Whatever. Crouching meter kick scaling. Stomps. Change attack type of all hits from high to low. Okay, he has real lows now from the stomps. Interesting. So ODSPD, they expanded the range. Could be a buff for him overall. I don't know. All right, mostly a nerf. They decided Zangief was controlling the neuts too hard, and it'll be easier to hit Zangief. A-okay with me. But boring patch for Zangief players, that's for sure. Kind of a boring patch for 99% of the people not named Ryu. Kind of a boring patch. We waited a long time for something that I feel like this could happen on a monthly basis here, you know, every 2 months or... The Ryu changes feel like a year-long wait. A season update. I'll wait till we get to the end. Our main focus with Dhalsim was taking a look at the properties of his Yoga Blast and touching up how he fights at medium distance. Normal Overdrive Yoga Blast. In order to boost its anti-air properties, Yoga Blast's hurtbox has been reduced from the time its hitbox first appears, making it less likely for the attack to get cancelled out by attacks coming from a sharp angle above. Okay, so better anti-air above his head. The Overdrive version has been given air invincibility from when the hitbox appears, except for around the feet, giving it a much higher return when successful, as well as making it easier to use. Because of its slow startup, the heavy version of Yoga Blast was unable to use this change effectively. As such, heavy Yoga Blast forward movement, hitbox, and the opponent's reaction to on hit up and change, allowing it to be used as a powerful combo piece from medium attacks and above. Okay. Hard for me to relate to Dhalsim changes. Floats. Dhalsim will now be able to act faster after using Yoga Float while on the ground, making it easier to cancel into and otherwise. The speed at which Dhalsim moves during Yoga Float has been increased. While not a drastic change, it allows him to better fine-tune his distance, maybe fine-tune. How is this translation done? It allows him to better fine-tune his distance to the opponent. I'm assuming this is meant to be fine-tune. How do they translate this? How do you go from fine-tune to fine-tune? That is like a phonetic mistranslation there, like listening to somebody say the phrase and you don't quite get the language. Like, how is that? How do you end up with that kind of a mistranslation? It was dictated verbally? Yeah, that seems like someone taking notes and they wrote down the wrong thing. Jump Heavy Punch. Due to its small hurtbox, Dhalsim's jumping Heki Punch would often clash with anti-air moves like Shoryuken, resulting in both attacks missing, and Dhalsim attacking his recovering opponent after he landed from the air. We've expanded the size of this hurtbox in all directions from when the hitbox appears to prevent this from happening. Oh, okay, I like that. Good for me. I hate hearing they buffed his float was already getting me annoyed. But float to jump heavy punch was kind of not quite Juri levels of jump heavy punch abusable, but I do feel like it was a very abusable technique. Dhalsim not a strong character in this game, really, but he had the float to jump heavy punch, teleport jump heavy punch was kind of a kind of scrubby, in my opinion. I like the hurt box is expanded on that one so you can anti-air him. He actually has to be a little bit smarter about when he uses that. Arthur Gomez takes for the $20 super chat. Will Helena healing super be enough to survive Ryu damage? We'll have to ask the Helena mains what they think about that. Crouching heavy punch. Advantage has been altered from -1 to -12 on hit block. To +3, -8 on hit block. They buffed crouching heavy punch, huh? Jump heavy punch extended hurt box around the torso forward from attack start up to the end. Extended hurt box 50% of the extension from frame 1 around the torso forward from end of active frames to the end of the animation. Extended hurt box around the arms downward during active frames 1 and 2. Cool. Extended hurt box around the tros downward during active frames 3 and 4. So, okay. Maybe you can jab it easier too. I don't know. Maybe you can crouch and fierce it easier. Agile kick, down, back, light kick. Advantage on block, change from -5 to -3. So, drive rush. Dhalsim's going to get a drive rush, crouching, light kick low. It's kind of funny. Drive rush low into plus frames for Dhalsim. Nerfing low tiers is just plain stupid. I don't think it's that simple. I definitely think things should be nerfed if they're spammable and not fun to deal with, even if the character's low tier. Obviously, they should consider giving them other ways to play and compensate and improve them. But sometimes shit is meant to be bad. Low tiers can be some of the most mindless, abusable, scrubby characters you've ever fought. Low tiers can absolutely still carry. You can still be carried by a low tier character, not to great heights, but to be annoying and like people having to work harder against you to win when they shouldn't have to. That is definitely things that happen. Look at Honda. Look at Honda. I'm sorry. At top level, yes, you have to work really hard to win with Honda, but you're going to beat a lot of people for no reason with Honda. You absolutely are. And that stuff should be nerfed. That stuff should be nerfed. It just should be. Lily crouching heavy punch, hitting behind her head for no reason. That encourages one-note mindless spamming gameplay. That should be nerfed. It makes the game better. Obviously, maybe they can rework the characters in other ways to improve their effectiveness and skill expression, but it's not just about character bad, improve, character good, nerf. It's more complex than that. It's a lot more subtle than that, in my opinion. Now, I'm not saying they did a great job of that. I'm not gonna give a cosign here, but I do. I think it's more complex. That's all. Okay, subtle changes to Dhalsim. Seems like they're trying to improve his anti-air ability. New hitbox for combos for the heavy Yoga Blast. There might be new combos. Hard to get a view of what this is going to be, but it seems rather subtle, to be honest. Just kind of doubling down on their improvements to the Yoga Blast from the previous patches. Rashid. Rashid's impressive agility and special moves allowed him to easily escape the corner while easily pushing his opponent into the corner. We've weakened his easily looped offensive in the corner using his forward throw, while giving him a larger reward for hitting with strikes in neutral. Forward throw. Rashid will now be further away from his opponent when successfully performing a forward throw, with the ability to stay at an advantage with a number of powerful strikes while in the corner after a forward throw. It was extremely difficult for opponents to escape the pressure. In order to reduce the number of situations where this can occur, we've altered the situation Rashid finds himself after a throw. We'll have to see. They said that about Ken. It didn't look any different. We'll see what this actually implies for Rashid. Overdrive rolled when shot held, so his OD fireball charge. It now requires less time held in order to fully power up, boosting its ease of use. It can now also be lined into from Rashid kick, medium punch, heavy kick. I mean canceled into? From the target combo? Yeah, I don't think they got rid of any throw loops. I think they're just nerfing the frame advantage if you go for the throw loop for Ken and Rashid, which it's hard for me to like if you backdash them, they're going to be more punishable. Like if you try to walk up throw loop and they backdash, you get a better punish, or you get less time to anti-air. So not all throw loops are made equal. There is a variation in the effectiveness for when going for a throw loop. So, but it's hard for me to know what the risk reward change actually is without getting into the details. So overdrive spinning mixer, due to the number of hits, overdrive spinning mixer often beat drive impact. This has been altered so that, like other characters' overdrive moves, this will not occur. Akuma has also received a balance change in the same vein. Oh, okay. This is interesting. So, I talked about this tech before. You could do things like... There's a common OS to beat medium drive rush cancel and to throw. And that is to do the DP reversal OS on drive rush cancel. If someone does a low forward, and as soon as you see low forward drive rush cancel, you do DP. If they go into anything other than a jab, which is a true block string, your DP will occur. And it ends up interrupting their offensive pressure, right? So they have to do low forward drive rush into jab, get their plus frames. Otherwise, any other move they go, if they go for throw, overhead reset, whatever, the DP will interrupt. So a very powerful tool. One way to counter that autopilot OS on offense is to do low forward drive rush cancel into DI. Hard call out, you drive rush cancel and then immediately DI. You would, for some characters, when they do the DPOS, you'll just armor through it and punish them, get a combo. Other characters, you'll armor the hits, pass through them, and then punish when they land on the other side. Akuma always shut that down because his DP hit 3 times and broke your armor, and so would Spinning Mixer. Sounds like they're trying to double down on this and make it so that DI is more effective for that OS and for other meaty situations, so that DI is better against these DPs. So, interesting. Okay, so they nerfed his momentum on the light drive rush, which is supposedly supposed to make it so that he can't shimmy you after doing low forward drive rush into jab. So in general, it seems like they're nerfing low forward drive rush by making it so that DIs can beat, or sorry, they're making it so that you can throw them after. But I don't know how it's gonna actually pan out. Spinning Mixer. Okay. Yeah, third hit of OD Spinning Mixer will no longer hit grounded opponents, so it'll lose to DI more often. So they sped up his OD Whirlwind Shot and increased distance from opponent on hit in the corner. So, I don't know. Rashid, this to me sounds like he's untouched. It's hard for me to know that getting into the details of how the throw has changed. All right, Aki. The main focus of Aki's changes were her combos and attack sequences. While some of the most commonly used combo starters were given scaling and weakened slightly, she also received a number of new options to use in her combos. Wow, they keep buffing her combo game. She's like one of the most combo-centric characters in the game, and they're adding even more. Standing medium punch with slightly more recovery on block. Aki is no longer able to cancel her standing medium punch into Toxic Wreath after a delay to punish opponents who move. Huh. However, she will now have crouching medium kick blocked automatically after drivers canceling from a block standing medium punch. And an opponent in burnout will no longer be able to interrupt standing medium punch into heel strike. So she has better block strings. Because of the boost in power this adjustment brings, we've also increased the pushback of heel strike on block against opponents in burnout. Okay, so they nerfed her burnout loop, potentially. Coward crouch into kicks. So Toxic Wreath, that's her bubble? What is Toxic Wreath? Down, down, back, heavy punch? Okay, this one. So standing, no longer able to cancel her standing medium punch after a delay. So you can't delay cancels, all they're saying, to frame trap with that. But she can do crouching medium kick on drive rush into medium punch, a true block string, which is crazy. But they nerfed the pushback on the heel strike so that you can't loop as well in burnout. Medium serpent lash. This is the angled one for anti-air. Like, not the vertical one, but slightly angled. It's now faster in startup, can be more easily used for both follow-up attacks and against opponents in the air. Because of the hitbox appears faster now, we've also increased the amount of active frames to ensure it will still hit in combos where it was used previously. So maybe a buff for the Akuma matchup? Maybe. Cruel Fate. Quarter circle back kick or 2 kicks. With its hitbox during combos expanded forward, Cruel Fate is now easier to use as part of combos. In particular, Cruel Fate is now easier to link from standing heavy kick on punish counter. So just more reliability in combos. So standing medium punch, increased recovery on block from 14 to 16 frames. Increased knockback time on block from 14 to 16 to 18 frames. Extended the buffer input grace period as attacks recover ends. Okay, so they just made it so that there's more recovery, which I guess hurts the cancel ability of this move. Crouching medium punch, reduced startup from 8 to 7 frames. They didn't want to mention that? That's big. Does that change her combo routes? That's big. Hello? They sometimes bury the lead with these summaries. Yeah, crouching medium kick increased scaling, which she had the strongest. I mentioned before, I thought about Kimberly and JP with drivers low. Aki's drivers low is amazing. Amazing. So adding that scaling is definitely going to hurt her damage in a lot of scenarios, but improved high-low with parry changes. So they added an initial scaling of 20% to heavy Nightshade Pulse. Her OD Fireball? I can't even imagine what that's for. Is that just for Fireball Drive Rush shenanigans? So, they increased the pushback on block during burnout only for her Coward Crash into kick. So they're trying to adjust the ability to loop her burnout sequences. So they're trying to chip away at those really autopilot burnout sequences. They got Manon and Aki here, so I'm not sure if she's going to be able to do any loops or reduced amount of loops. Normally you got like 3 loops, I believe, until you had a drive rush cancel to continue the sequence. So okay, fine. Aki mostly the same. Increase recovery on hit by 7 frames. She also got Oki on back throw. Okay. Slight buffs to Aki, slight nerfs as well. Maybe her anti-air is better versus Akuma. Medium Serpent Lash getting more utility. And nerfing the burnout sequence. Slight adjustments. Ed's ability to make use of his held Psycho Flicker after a forward throw in the corner was extremely powerful, especially against characters who didn't have a good way to reverse the pressure. We also took a look at his ability to start combos using his long-reaching normals, his ease of closing gaps after set combos, and routing his Psycho Cannon Super Art. As a result, we've changed the situations he's left in after forward throw, while giving him a new movement option from his iconic Psycho Flicker. Iconic. With Psycho Flicker now cancelable, forward throw. Ed's advantage and position on a successful throw has been significantly altered, especially in the corner. Ed will no longer be able to throw or hit with a held Psycho Flicker right as the opponent recovers, thus making continuing his attack after forward throw much more risky. So did they add a ton of recovery so you can't charge the Psycho Flicker to hit meaty? So the original flowchart up until now was throw them in the corner, you would charge the light flicker, and you would be able to hit meaty with it and pull them in, and you get a strike throw mix after because you're +4. And if they reversaled, you would be at a safe distance. If they DI'd, you would recover in time to DI. So basically, it kind of forced you to take a safe strike throw mix or eat the flicker and die. So maybe they're increasing the distance. So you can't do that. Psycho Flicker. With Psycho Flicker now cancelable into Kill Rush, the non-held version of the move can now be used as both a powerful space controlling move that can quickly close space on counter hit or as a new combo piece. Okay, so you can normally cancel before you release into Kill Rush. Are they saying you can now on release and hit cancel to Kill Rush after? So hit them and then cancel after? Is that the implication here? Cancel on hit? Interesting. So the non-charge version can poke and then get in. I wonder what the frame advantage is after that. If you just do a quarter circle forward kick, cancel into the command dash forward. Additionally, after considering the high return gain on punish counter and the strength of the held version, we've increased the risk of using Psycho Flicker by adding screen freeze on successful perfect parry. Whoa. That's interesting. Can you do this to Guile? Can I get that on like Akuma? So normal overdrive Psycho Flicker. Screen will not freeze on successful perfect parry. There is no difference in recovery after perfect parry or the normal version, regardless of whether the button was held or not. Okay. So yeah, you just have, I mean, what people would do now is they would do perfect parry drive rush OS on it. So strong players would still get punishes on perfect parry on it. But this just gives you more time to calculate, and I think a bit more frame advantage on the screen freeze perfect parry. So perfect parry, slow down, plan your punish, react accordingly. So it's definitely a nerf. So Psycho Flicker can now be canceled into Kill Rush, forward, backward. That is so strange. So strange. And if Psycho Flicker punish counters, you get a crumple knockdown. or knockback knockdown. I don't know what you would call it. So yeah, definitely going to be new options there. So uppercut, decrease super gauge gain. That's a nerf to the dream combos. Medium version 1200 to 1000, heavy 15,000 to 1200. Yeah, because the heavy is what you're doing in the dream combo. Forward throw, increased recovery by 2 frames. Reduce knockdown time on hit. Reduce distance from the opponent on hit in the middle of the screen. So you're closer mid-screen, but you're increased distance from the corner. Extended buffer input grace period. Okay, so nerfing the corner Oki. Increasing ability to perfect parry and punish add. And super art gauge nerfs. These are nerfs. I'd have to see how bad the corner Oki situation is. But this doesn't seem like, honestly, like that big of a nerf. I still think Ed will be good. I honestly don't think that this is that big of a nerf. New combos. And then we all work on strengthening it again. Yeah, new combos. Like, they gave him some options here. It's kind of interesting. I don't know if these are better than what you would do before. This is better actually. This is kind of like a corner style combo. You would normally not get this when you didn't have them in the corner. Being able to use the angled flicker like that was normally not possible. Heavy flicker, side swap. Yeah, like he got some exchange here. Nerfed overall, I have to see the corner Oki. Corner Oki being nerfed is definitely a big hit, but I still think he's going to be good. Goki. Akuma gave his opponents few options when faced up against his powerful neutral game and attack sequences. By tweaking the pushback of his moves on block and the properties of his attack sequences, we've given opponents a bit of help when faced with Akuma's numerable options. Oh, gave us a bit of help. Thanks, Capcom. That's so generous. Gave us some help. This is some racketeering shit. You created the problem. You created the problem and you're selling us the solution. What do you mean? You designed the character. Kikoko combination, forward heavy punch, Gao Hadoken, quarter circle forward punch, heavy adamant flame. Kuma was often able to make use to these moves to avoid punishment on block. True. We've reduced the amount of pushback on block to ensure he's more likely to eat a counterattack while trying to preserve the ease of use of these attacks. Kikoku combination would now leave Akuma closer to his opponent when blocked after using the attack from Dry Rush. Is that his medium punch target combo? Making this buff, making this a buff in some situations as well. Is Kikoku combination his medium punch target combo? It was very common to use medium punch target combo. If it hits, you go into Tatsu. If it's blocked, you go into Fireball and you're safe. Oh, that's forward heavy punch. Okay, forward heavy punch target combo. Sure, whatever. Crouching heavy kick was very powerful when paired with Tatsumaki Zanku Kyaku. Two often creating situations where the opponent had little choice in how to fight back. In an effort to curb this, we've reduced the amount of time the opponent is knocked down while in the air. So the nerfed is Oki. He used to get safe jump or double dash if he did Tatsu to sweep. Demon Raid. Okay, OD Demon Flip. The overdrive version of Demon Raid can now be canceled into Tenma Gozanku, giving Akuma more options for combos while in the corner. What? What's a Tenma Gozanku? Crouching light kick. Increase the speed of Akuma's crouching light kick. Rapid cancel. We reduce the likelihood that the opponent clashes with an opponent's normal moves. Attacks that connect after rapid cancel have also been made. Okay, so they buff the low string. Crouching medium punch. More recovery. More hurt box. More with punishability. Okay. Increased pushback on hit. I don't know if that'll hurt combo options for him. That's unique. Not all of them, the mediums have that. So the nerf is Oki from Tatsu to sweep. Increased pushback on block for forward heavy kick. Or sorry, back heavy kick. Okay, that's his launching kick. Increased pushback on block. I guess that forces him to convert to charge fireball more often, which could leave a gap where you can interrupt to keep it safe. Like if he's if he does it into regular fireball, he might be punishable without charging. So medium kick, heavy kick. This is his overhead. Oh, whatever. Bug fix. So forward heavy punch target combo. Spend a hurt box forward 2 frames before the initial hit. Reduce pushback on block. Okay. Go Hadouken. Reduce pushback on block. Okay, so it's going to depend on this pushback reduction if this is impactful or not. So air fireball has increased scaling from 20 to 40% now. So that's a nerf on the air fireball. They nerfed his ODDP so that it's weaker to DI. Won't break DIs. Adamant Flame. Advantage on block change from -2 to -3. Reduce pushback on block. Pushback during burnout remains unchanged. Okay. So maybe we can throw him after. Maybe he's in throw distance. I hope that's what they're implying. I would have also preferred if they threw in there that OD Adamant Flame was -16 on block. That move should not be safe. OD Adamant Fist should not be safe. That should not be safe. I'm sorry. You can hit confirm that from a heavy punch and to death. That move should be... You should die for missing that confirm. That to me is like a skill issue thing. Like that is just like carrying them. Like I don't understand that. You should never... There should never be a situation where you do OD Adamant Fist on block. It kills people. It absolutely massacres people. Avoids drive rush cancel. Gets you like super unskilled combos into level 2. If you miss that hit confirm, you should explode. That to me is another like scrub balance decision. It's scrubby. Like increased skill expression. You should hit confirm it. Hit confirm or die. It's easy to hit confirm. Or get rid of the hit confirm. You can't have both. You can't have both. Why do you have such a hit confirmable stand fierce if when you mess up the hit confirm, you're in an okay situation? But this is a good change. So Overdrive Demon Raid can now be canceled into Tenma Gozanku. What the hell is a Tenma Gozanku? Oh, air level 1? Air level 1? Okay, gotcha. So Demon Blade kick during Demon Raid. I'm assuming that's the dive kick out of Demon Flip. Increase initial scaling from 20 to 30% when performed from normal Demon Raid. Okay, more scaling on dive kick out of Demon Flip. Okay, so Akuma did get some nerfs. He actually did adjust. They did adjust his damage in some situations and potentially added a few situations to punish autopilot play. The pushback reduction on Fireball might be big. I'll have to see some examples to really understand the full implications of that. So definitely some nerfs to Akuma. Still seems like he's going to be very good, which is fine. I think they made some solid adjustments, chipping away in the right direction. They nerfed his Oki also out of the Tatsu to sweep. Think he's going to be good. Maybe a little less oppressive in some situations. Still probably going to piss you off with Demon Flip and his walk speed. But Akuma should be a good character for sure. But solid. I'd say I'm okay with these changes, except I do think OD Adamant Fist, it's not even going to be a nerf to good players. It's just going to be a nerf to people not thinking. I'm always down for nerfs to people not thinking. And Bison already boasts powerful offense out of his first class drive rush and commands the neutral game with his standing heavy punch and double knee press. With the system changes being introduced in the upcoming patch, particularly those to perfect parry, and Bison is likely to receive a further boost to his offense. Okay, there's more. I was getting worried reading that. Taking this into consideration, we've reduced the effectiveness of a number of his moves. These include standing light kick, deadly when paired with his drive rush, standing heavy punch, which gives him a combo on normal hit, and finally his back fist combo, which allows him to set a Psycho Mine and further push his offense. Additionally, we've improved the situation and Bison finds himself in when a number of his special moves hit, as they were not seeing much use. Okay. This should give M. Bison another avenue of attack to keep the opponents guessing. Light medium overdrive back fist combo, light medium psycho crusher attack, and Bison will now have a harder time launching an offensive against his opponent from the center of the screen using drive rush after hitting with the light and medium versions of back fist combo. After changes to Bison's recovery and hit effect on the what? Sometimes I read these sentences and like in the middle of it, I don't know what's going on. M. Bison will now have a harder time launching an offensive against his opponents from the center of the screen using Drive Rush after hitting with light and medium versions of back fist combo after changes to Bison's recovery and hit effect on the opponent. So they're going to change the hit effect and recovery after light and medium back fist combo to make it so that he has a harder time launching his Drive Rush. Okay. On the other hand, it will now be easier to pressure opponents after planting a mine with Drive Rush after the overdrive version, as they will now land closer to the villain. Okay, this sounds promising. So the common flowchart sequence was get a combo conversion into back fist combo, and then Drive Rush, pressure, high-low, throw, back heavy kick, and at the overhead hit, you died, right? So it sounds like they're nerfing the Oki from that and buffing it on OD, so you have to spend bar to get the Oki. Unlike light and medium back fist combo, light and medium Psycho Crusher attack now leave Bison in a better situation before, even when used mid-screen, allowing him to press his opponent further with his pressure. The light version has received changes to both its startup and hitbox, allowing it to link from light normals. Okay, that's big. This change should allow Bison to consider both his options, consider both his position on the screen and his resources when deciding which special to end a combo with. Yeah, normally from lights, you can only go into scissors, really, or back fist if you're close enough and didn't use enough hits. And the non-OD Psycho Crushers were kind of bad besides the anti-air utility. And if they had bomb planted, then you would combo into it, or you would go into a super. So I do kind of agree the light and medium Psycho Crushers weren't used that much. So now it sounds like you can combo into a knockdown from lights, which is obviously better. Or it's an option to consider besides just going into scissors. So I don't mind that. That's a buff, but it lets you consider more options. I don't mind that. It makes it more dynamic, to be honest. Instead of it always being into scissors, now he can do, if he wants to, go into Psycho Crusher. So that makes the character a tiny bit less one note in a way, right? It's to me, it's a change in a positive direction, even if it's a buff for Bison. So standing light punch, reduce active frames from 3 to 2, increase recovery from 9 to 11. Huh. They nerfed a stand light punch. Advantage on block change from -2 to -3, so only +1 on Drive Rush. Interesting. Stand heavy punch. Increase the distance the central axis of the character moves from 3 frames before the attack begins to 3 frames after the active frames end. Attack animation has not changed, but the hurt box will now extend further forward. Increase the distance the central axis of the character moves from 3 frames before the attack begins to 3 frames after the active frames end. So he doesn't move forward until after he's done hitting you. So, or does he move back? I don't understand. Standing heavy punch, doesn't he move forward? I'm a little confused. They're saying it's going to be easier to whiff punish, but he moves forward, right? It sounds like they're contradicting themselves. Where's M. Bison? So he moves forward. So what are they talking about? Increase the distance the central axis of the character moves from 3 frames before the attack begins to 3 frames after the active frames end. So he's moving forward first. So they're nerfing his forward movement? It's hard for me to understand this, but if they're saying that it makes it easier to whiff punish our stuff, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. Stans, is Marisa back, or am I a Ryu main now? Stans, I don't know if it matters how many buffs they give to Ryu. I don't know if you're a Ryu main. I'm 33, man. I think you should count your blessings for what you got. And aren't you about to be a dad? Congratulations, by the way. That wasn't like a Nathan Fielder like troll post, right? Like you're actually okay. I for some reason I could see that being potentially a troll. Congratulations. Yeah, you ain't got time to learn no Ryu. Well, maybe you're gonna just have the latent boomer dad Shoto level up. So it might be time. I can't tell. Once you got the kid, you might got some Shoryukens and Fireball game in you. But they did not do much for Marisa, no. Where were we? So I guess standing heavy punch is going to be easier to whiff punish. Increase recovery on whiff, and then hitting an armor attack from 17 to 20 frames. Okay. Make this move a little bit less abusable. Standing medium kick, great poke. Reduce active frames, increase recovery a little bit, and increase hurt box. Okay, less abusable. Crouching light punch, also making it so it's going to be harder to walk away after a drive rush cancel, so you can throw him. Psycho Crusher. They buff the start up to 14 frames for usage in combos, increase knockdown time. I'm fine with that. So they nerfed the recovery of light medium back fist, 3 frames of recovery, and increased blowback on it after the second hit. So he recovers slower, and you're further away. So that's going to hurt the drive rush Oki. So he's not going to just land a combo and kill you, potentially. I think that's the idea here. Okay. Some slight nerfs to the Bison. I definitely like the hurt box changes, the heavy punch changes, and we'll have to see how this works in practice, but they definitely hurt his Oki. All right, Terrelled. Capcom, did you do anything for me? Overall, Terry is a character with where we feel the majority of his moves are at an acceptable place. I guess. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Because of this, the focus for this update was to make his combos a bit easier to use and to help a couple of his moves stand out a bit with more small tunings to their properties. Standing medium punch. With a slight boost to the reach of the move directly after the hitbox appears, this attack should no longer hit at different times depending on the distance to the opponent. The window to use a target combo has also been expanded, making it easier to use after confirming standing medium punch has hit. Okay, so hit confirms. Power drive, medium punch to heavy punch. This is the 1-2 knockdown target combo. With both a damage boost and scaling addition, power drive will end up dealing around the same damage when used in a combo, but will deal more damage when an opponent is counter hit after trying to move first when blocking standing medium punch. Okay. Little buff there. Heavy crack shoot. This move never fails to let me down. With improvements to its usefulness as a projectile and tweaks to its third hit's hitbox, it should now be easier to ensure every hit connects when combing from heavy power charge into heavy crack. Do you mean comboing? From heavy power charge into heavy crack shoot. Okay. Normally you have to manually time that. It's not that hard to do. Did they just make it so that anyone can do his combos without practicing? Standing medium punch. Advantage on hit change from +1 to +2 frames. That's something. So I wonder if that's going to be hit confirmable now into the target combo. Extended time into cancel into power drive by 1 frame. That might be within hit confirmable ranges now, which is obviously good. Standing MK. Extended buffer input. Grace period as attack recovery ends. This is to make doing standing medium kick confirmed to are you okay? A little bit easier. Standing heavy kick. Reduce pushback on punish counter. That's big. That's actually big. His punish counter combos from heavy kick were often very limited, especially mid-screen. Especially mid-screen. You can combo to medium tackle naturally. Oh, so you get a whole launcher combo? Yeah, that's actually pretty big. His heavy kick is a great move, but the combo rewards mid-screen were often very situational and limited. Or meter intensive. Crouching medium punch, extended hurt box. That's fine. Yeah, the universal nerfs. Crouching light kick, advantage on blocks change from -3 to -2 frames. This is good because I always just do crouching light kick, drive rush crouching light kick into crouching medium punch, which is not real. It combos on hit, but it's not real. So now it's going to be +2. I think that's still not real because crouching medium punch is no, it's 6 frames. That's real now. It'll trade with lights. Okay. This is buffing what I always did, but was fake as fuck. Yeah, maybe we can get a trade combo now. I don't know what the trade advantage will be. It might lead to a combo on trade. So I'll take that. Crouching heavy kick. Reduce startup from 11 to 10. Nice. This sweep is ass. That's better. Increase knockdown time and punish counter. Okay, that's just to compensate for the recovery. So it's faster. 1 frame faster. So they increase not only the hit confirm, the cancel window on medium punch by a frame, but also reduce the startup of the heavy punch. So yeah, I guess it's going to be hit confirmable. I'm not sure what the window is overall, but now you can fish with medium punch to heavy punch and only cancel on hit potentially. Medium power wave. Increase the time hurtbox around the arms lasts from 18 to 21 frames. Nerf. Round wave. Change attack type from high to low. Huh. Okay, wait a minute. Now, I wouldn't go as far as to say this is mix, but obviously they're leaning into the perfect parry changes, so you're going to have to hold down back to get a perfect parry on it. And this move was 100% perfect parry bait. It prevents you from walking away from the pressure and getting the perfect parry, which means mid-screen it's going to be a little bit more powerful. And in the heat of the moment, what if I just start slocking with some overheads? That's an improvement. It's not like there's zero counterplay, but this is definitely, you have to think more on defense. That adds up. That adds to the mental stack. Absolutely. Interesting. Yeah, imagine people trying to walk away. Like if I do the side swap combo and then I do heavy power wave, I'm less likely to eat shit with a perfect parry, and I might just get a free combo. Overdrive power wave, increase the time hurt box. Okay, more hurt box. Quick burn, increase distance move during attack. Expanded proximity block trigger forward. Huh. So the proximity block trigger is what forces you to, like, when you hold back instead of walking away, you get stuck in the mud. This might mean that you can throw this out in neutral, or maybe do specific block strings to use this from further away, and people won't be able to walk away, and they might get clonked with the overhead. And maybe it'll be safer on block from distance, because you can space out the OD version, which is -5 on block also, with the overhead ender, but it'll be safe. Maybe there's gonna be some utility like that with this one as well. They gave Terry a lot of changes. Okay. OD quick burn, extended hitbox of second hit forward, expanded proximity blocks trigger forward. Okay, so maybe same thing. Maybe you can just throw this out from further away. Corn Gans, thanks for the 10 months. Appreciate that. Heavy burn knuckle. Expanded timing to cancel into Super Art 3 critical art from 1 to 5 frames from 1 frame. Expanded timing to cancel into Super Art 3 critical art from 2-1 to 5 frames from 1 frame. I'm going to assume they mean expanded it from 1 frame to 5 frames. Yeah, there's 2 ways to read this. It's a typo. It's either went from 5 to 1 or 1 to 5. I would assume it's easier to cancel because the way it works right now, a lot of your combo routes, you have to, if you're going to level 3, you have to purposely choose going into medium burn knuckle to even get the level 3 cancel, because the heavy one ends up hitting too late and it won't cancel. So heavy is already kind of strict for the level 3 cancel in terms of its timing. So I would assume it's a buff, because if they're nerfing that, it's already bad. So I'm assuming they're saying it's going from 1 frame to cancel to 5 frames. That's what I'm assuming. Maybe even hit confirmable. Who knows? Overdrive burn knuckle, extended hitbox upwards. Okay. I can't think of any combos where this would be useful so far. Medium crack shoot. Increase damage on grounded opponent from 700 to 900. Okay, sure. Heavy crack shoot. Reduce hurtbox around the feet downward from frame 17 to 27. Altered hurtbox after the hitbox appears, making it less likely to be hit from behind after jumping over a projectile. Better anti-projectile. This Terry definitely got some buffs. Expanded hitbox downward on the 3rd hit during a combo. That's probably just to make it so you don't have to even think about timing the combo to get the 3rd hit anymore. This is going to be better anti-projectile and better as just like a poke in neutral. Overdrive crack shoot. Extended hitbox upwards. That'll make it more consistent in combos as well. Level 2. Reduce horizontal blowback on hit. Okay, that's useful. in conjunction with the OD Knuckle, because you would combo into OD Knuckle, and sometimes that shit would just send them flying. And also, maybe this means you can get... this also probably means... No, actually, sorry, I take that back. This is probably referring to the extension, the 2-punch extension. If you don't go into the third hit that costs a super bar, you can get the combos after easier. Mid-screen, it was hard to get combos. So you can probably do more combos from this mid-screen. Okay. You know, I said after this patch, I was going to see what direction Capcom gave me for what to play. Everything else is boring as fuck. Besides Terry. At least Terry got some new toys. It's either Ryu or Terry. These are kind of solid. There's definitely a little bit to dig into here. Boring ass patch though. I mean, I got some toys with Terry. Heavy crack shoot buff sounds nice. I'm gonna try Atlanta, of course. All right, solid Terry buffs. With her powerful tools to keep the opponents away in mid and long ranges, as well as an ability to repeat certain avenues of attack with little risk, Mai was too effective at keeping her opponent's choices limited when she was on offense. As such, we've tweaked her standing heavy kick and Kachosin, which we recognize as the main problems when it came to limiting the opponent. Additionally, we've changed the timing when Mai games her flame stocks, limiting the benefit she gained even when her Kagero no Mai was blocked. Stand heavy kick. With additional recovery and expansion of its hurt box, sending heavy kick is now riskier for Mai to use. Pushback on block has also been reduced, making it more likely for Mai to lose her turn. Solid choice. That makes sense. Standing heavy punch, reduce the drive gauge. Oh no, drive gauge increase change from 3,000 to 2,000. Oh, nerfed. Okay. She gains less drive gauge for hitting with that. Reduce pushback as well. That was also kind of spammable. Standing heavy kick. 3 frames of recovery, expanded body hurt box forward, reduced pushback on block, good nerfs. They buffed her sweep on whiff. That's kind of weird. Oh no, they nerfed it, sorry. Increased recovery from 22 to 25s. Oh, okay. Fireballs. What did they do to her fireballs? Expanded the projectile clash hitbox inward as the hitbox appears. What does that mean? Expanded the projectile clash hitbox inward as the hitbox appears. Okay. Whatever you say, Capcom. So this is the charge version. Hurtbox around the legs will now last until recovery has fully completed. Hurtbox around the arms will now last for 27 frames from attack startup. Oh no, this is the enhanced one from her level 1 stocks, yeah. So increased hurtbox around legs. Can you sweep her if you see her go for it? So if you normal, boosted, Kachosin held, added a projectile invincible hurtbox at the feet from the 3rd frame. Expanded body hurtbox forward from the 19th frame to the end of the recovery when the button... Okay, so if she's charging it, you can sweep her or hit her low a little bit easier. Removed proximity block trigger from fans after bouncing. So after you block the fan, normally you're stuck there high-low. Now you can adjust your spacing. This could potentially change interactions. That's kind of a big deal because if you block it, depending on how it hits, maybe you could walk away from the high-low mix a little bit. I'd have to see it in action, but this makes it definitely less cut and dry for my players to apply mix and pressure. That sounds like a nerf. Like an impactful nerf. Moke got a clip? I'll check it out. Let's see what he's cooking. Anyone have Moke's Twitter? Every time I search Moke on Twitter, even though I think I'm following him, I can never find him. His Twitter account just never turns up for me. Oh, I found him. Okay. Ah, yep. That is indeed a nerf. For sure. Now, obviously, you can't just walk away because she can potentially go drive rush low. She can. There's ways for her to scare you from just moving, but it's still extremely powerful. It's still really good. Don't get it twisted. And also remember, they nerfed high-low perfect parry, so you can't walk away. she goes drive rush, crouching, medium kick, and you parry, you won't get perfect parry. So in some ways, the perfect parry changes help her as well. So yeah. For sure, it's just more dynamic, at least. It's at least more dynamic. Increased drive gauge gained when drive parrying, perfect parrying the normal version from 2,500 to 5,000. So, okay, they're buffing people's drive gauge recovery when parrying her projectiles. Hey, Jojo. What are you doing? What are you doing? What's up, bud? What's up, buddy? Yeah, so you get more drive gauge back. Only one fan will remain in bounce now after only one of the third and fourth fans clash with the opponent's moves. Okay, some weird nerfing the multiple projectile spam. They buffed her drive gauge gain for Riembu. Okay, Super Art 1 normal or boosted. Flame stocks will now be gained at the end of recovery instead of on attack startup. Fixed an issue where flame stocks would not be consumed when using the flame stock boosted version. So level 1 now uses a flame stock itself. I don't know. Sounds niche. Added 50% damage scaling to non-cinematic version. Oh, it's very rare to even see the non-cinematic version, but that does happen. That's whatever. Okay. Definitely nerfed, but I think the system mechanics to parry buffer in ways to make her high-low more potent. We'll have to see how effective walking out of her pressure is. But I like the nerf to her heavy kick to make it more whiff punishable and make it less spammable with decreased pushback on block. Mai's still going to be very good, but I think she might be a little less one note and spammable. A little more thinking for everybody involved. My patch note impressions. This is just very boring. This is what I was worried about from almost the very beginning, and my worry increased with each subsequent patch. This game came out in a very complete state, and it feels like Capcom has built a house of cards of intertwining mechanics that they are very hesitant to touch or tweak whatsoever. And I don't think we're changing the state of the game hardly at all with this patch, unfortunately. I do like the changes to parry. I think that is at least one big overarching step in the right direction. But in general, the level of these changes per character, some people got nothing. This is just not like an exciting patch. And maybe it sounds immature, or, you know, maybe it's a little bit of brain rot from playing modern games for so long. But if you're going to wait so long to do major season balance updates, I kind of expect change for just the sake of variety to some degree. I guess there's two different schools of thought or philosophy on balance changes. Should every balance change be made to meticulously approach this idealized version of the perfect balance? There's a perfect end state of the game. We need to constantly be honing in on whatever that end state is, and that is our job with the balance updates. Or is there a goal of just providing some level of variety and keeping things refreshed? I kind of have 50-50 feelings about that. I do feel that we should not be making changes solely for the sake of making changes. They should make sense to be in the space of some idealized version of the game. But I think there could be there's still a lot of variation in a really good version of the game, and we could be heading in that direction. So it's a very boring patch. I personally don't like that. I wish it was a bit more exciting, but you could make the argument that the game was constructed so well from the get-go that there's not too much to change. I personally feel, though, I obviously wish there was a big nerf, universal nerf to raw drive rush. I just wish there was a hurt box on drive rush. I like a lot of the changes. I do like them adding a lot more hurt boxes to the moves that fish for drive rush cancel, and I'm always a fan of hurt box extensions to improve the footsie game. But if you add a hurt box extension to raw drive rush, I think I'd feel way better about this game, so that drive rush doesn't feel just like a kind of a toss up at times when it just happens to work and your check just whiffs on them. So that would be the one thing I would care about. Perfect parry change is good. Overall, solid patch. Ryu got buffed to high health for no reason. Only Ryu and Terry, I think, got interesting changes, and maybe Manon a little bit. Kind of boring overall, but it is what it is. I would say overall, step in the right direction. Rather underwhelming. It'd be like that. Hopefully, we can get more updates along the way. Hopefully, they deliver on the promise to do more frequent balance changes. And we keep enjoying the game. Street Fighter Season 3.